Podcast v Podcast Wars 2019 monthly roundup and Soma Game Club. This is Achievement Hunting 101. Hello and welcome to Achievement Hunting 101. My voice sounds funny. It's because allergies are real.
Oh, wow, right off the bat?
This is level 40. We got a great show for you today. But first, let me introduce to you who will be joining. First up, we have Nate. What's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. We also have Corey, finally making his return.
Hey, man.
And with us, we also have L.
Happy 40th! Looks like this podcast is going to be buying a sports car very soon. Midlife crisis! Who sings it? Come on.
Metallica.
Oh, man.
Definitely not. I know.
Adele?
Who sings Epic?
Kelly Clarkson.
Faith No More.
There you go. They have more than one song. They have two.
All right, so let's begin with some achievement talk and some stories.
Woo!
Nate, what do you got for us this week?
Oh, this week, just last night, I hit Gen 10 on Titanfall.
Nice.
Yes, Titanfall 360. The Gen grind is over for me, but we've got a whole bunch of people that are still working their way up. And one of the fun things we had this time around, one of the fun things we had this time around was Cronus scripts. So we have a couple of us that have Cronus devices, and we just
Xpovo scripts?
Xpovo scripts, yes. So we'll go to like a Southeast Asia or something like that, and we'll just post up in a room, and we can have our Cronus scripts running, which can feed people pilot kills or Titan kills or wins, pretty much any hour of the day that they can play. And we can go to any game mode. We just need to know a little bit ahead of time and go park those. So they
So
should
nice of
help.
you.
Yeah, hopefully it'll help. People get that stuff done and get their homework done and get that game off the list. That's
Yes, I
me.
know. I need to start playing a little bit more. I'm still Gen 1, level 32, I think, something like that.
Yeah, I'm hoping now that the major grind is done with Titanfall, that I can actually start playing other games and get to some of the things I have been basically avoiding or just letting sit for a while.
Yes, I wanted to join you last night, but instead of joining your session in Titanfall, I decided to do something different. I played Burnout with L.
Whoa.
Yes. Oh, wait, you were supposed to bring that up. Oops. What's up, L? What do you got for us this week?
Yes, I conducted a Burnout Paradise session on TA.
Oh, you played with Jables.
I did. Jables joined us. Michelle's brother Brian, Mike Pitch, Odorless Furball, who I
That's
forced.
a name and a half.
Yes, and Michelle kept calling him Odorless Football. It was very funny. And I made him join the Discord. Hopefully, he enjoys it in there. Of an old,
Welcome.
if an old friend, Game Tag was taken, who joined us, and Skeptical Mario and Kingsman helped us as well. So we had a lively crowd. We worked on the 8-player achievements, which are the 8-player win and the 8-player free burn leaderboard achievements. So once
What's
we did that,
left of that game?
the two big ones are 250 online challenges and 50 rivals. So for a rival, basically, you just have to find any new gamertag and smash into them, and you become a rival. So you can either just join quick matches and do that, or if you get really stuck, there are plenty of TA sessions going on for that stuff. And the cool part about it is that when we were done, we had 8 players who worked on the 8-player challenges. So we actually had to coordinate people. Oh, did I mention someone else who was in the session? There's another L, and his name is Nice L. You know about him?
Yes, he was nice.
Dun, 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 dun.
There's a second L to scare everyone off. His name is Emperor L, and he's a nice young lad. And he stuck around, and I wanted to blame him for everything, but nope. Everything was my fault. Kept getting lost. It's only I can do.
What is with L's and getting lost?
But this game has been a revelation to me. I really don't play racing games, but I can't get enough of this game. It's really fun.
It's a good one.
It really was.
It's definitely the co-op nature of it, though. I haven't touched the single-player campaign. I assume there is one. Anywhere from 2 to 8 player co-op. Can't go wrong.
Yeah, I was
Go on
looking at
for
my
me.
achievements. I haven't unlocked an achievement, and I would imagine I haven't played since 2012. And that game was a lot of fun. I kind of wish I would have played it more now.
Well, we have a couple more months for this one, and then we have the remastered one to work on the same exact stuff. Sounds good.
Now that one, I will join you.
All right.
You should join this one. You should have it. It was Games of Gold.
Yeah, you and Kush Moss. Come on, buddy.
Yeah.
The program.
Yeah,
Now-
you have no excuse, Nate. Titanfall's done.
It
Well-
is an excuse.
Well, hold on now. So a lot of people helped me get to Gen 10, and I'm gonna return the favor. So, but yeah,
I appreciate
I
that.
do have commitments, but yeah, I'm definitely down for boosting and getting some stuff done in lots of other games. But I definitely want to help out the guys that helped me get where I'm going. So, and also anyone else that's coming up. But yeah, I would definitely like to maybe get in on a couple of those, but not on the normal Titanfall nights because I'll probably be needed there.
What about you, Corey? You got any good stories from the week?
It has been a couple weeks since I've been on the panel, but I guess I can pick one from the previous week.
Or the
So-
past 3 weeks or whatever it is.
Yeah, I'll save that because I got one that I'll mention a little bit later. But one thing I will mention is a little bit ago, Carpe Adam kind of threw up a friendly, "Hey, I got more gamer score than you in Max: The Curse of the Brotherhood," and so I decided that I was just going to make a challenge on TA, make it official, and so I officially challenged him to be the first to complete it. And I had about 5 achievements left, and I think he had 4. He had the day off, and he had the whole day to work on it, and he chose not to be fair. And to be honest, I didn't know I was going to complete it as fast, but I completed it that night. And so that's been a long time coming for that one. It wasn't too hard. Probably took me an hour and a half to 2 hours to finish up the last few achievements. Luckily, in that game, you can manipulate the checkpoint system in order to get some of these no-death achievements. But I'm glad that one's done. So yeah, Max: The Curse of the Brotherhood is completo.
Nice.
Congrats.
Go for the
Thank
stack.
you. I don't know. That depends. It's
you
probably
can
not
lap him.
1,000 gamer score, is it?
Could lap him. No, I think it's 200 for the 360.
It's not 200.
400.
Going once.
400? Nope, not.
Going twice.
Maybe
600.
that special Korean one.
Damn it.
But that one doesn't count towards any stats.
It is
does it?
400. The unreleased fake one, no.
Yeah. that
Or
one.
something like that.
No, I think that's enough max to go around for one lifetime.
Oh, yes? You've maxed out your... Whoa.
That.
Well, Kenny, process of elimination telling me that you're last. So, do you have any good gaming stories?
Well, I have one. I've been going hard. Stop it. on
Pause.
on Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms. I'm starting to get like the clicker hero itch back, and this game is starting to addict. I'm starting to get addicted to this game, and it's definitely not running right now while we're talking. And I managed to complete area 150 and scored a couple of other achievements this previous week, so I'm super happy about that and making some good progress on it.
I won't pretend to know what Area 150 means, but I'll just say congrats.
Yeah, I know UNL have no idea what I'm talking about right now.
You didn't do any of the
Nope.
clicker heroes there, Corey?
Oh, Clicker Heroes I did. Idle Champions, no. I'm still working on Clicker Heroes, I guess.
It's the
Probably-
same concept. So like getting the 300 in like clicker heroes. Well, now you're trying to get to like 150, and I think the max on Idle Champions is it also 300 or is it 250?
It's 250 on Idle.
250. Yeah.
I have that channel muted, but it certainly looks like by the chat that it's a lot more involved than Clicker Heroes.
It can
Yes.
be.
Yeah.
The guys that are chatting in there are like way into it. Like I've been lurking and just kind of doing a little bit on the side. I've actually let everything slide for Titanfall, so I haven't been doing any of my dailies outside of Titanfall.
Yeah. I've
Who
peeked
hangs
in
out
there,
there?
and I've seen some good,
Oh, right. That's true.
some good stuff pinned. So if I ever do go to it, it looks like I'll have some nice info to get me going. But yeah, haven't been brave enough to click that one yet.
Yeah, I've been making lots of progress without getting like super into the meta of all of it. So I think that there's some nice middle ground.
Yeah, we have a couple of people in our Discord that is super into this game. And Skeptical Mario, he was the 7th person on TA to be able to complete this out of 26. I'm sorry, 29 that have completed it.
And it came out like last year too, right?
Yes.
So like late last year, but still, it's it's already May, so it's been out for a while.
December 14th, 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the 7th one to complete it, and I believe he's still playing it, like going a little bit farther. I think I saw him saying that. I could be wrong.
Just in case for those mysterious title updates.
Yes.
That might appear.
Gosh, I hope no. I hope there are no updates.
Sorry, Father. It takes long enough to be able to complete it. All right, let's get into some news. First thing we got is, well, I'll let Nate take this one away. He was excited for this.
Darn it, you stole my thunder. I was going to pretend like I didn't want to talk about it.
Yeah, I know you were, jerk. That's why I let you take it away.
Yeah, so Sea of Thieves anniversary update, I think just launched today. I think it's out. You can get it. It adds fishing. It adds single player. It probably has
at the time
same
of recording
combat.
yes, today.
Yeah. So I'm interested in jumping in and checking out some of the single player stuff and maybe getting to do some of the group stuff, but I just want to see how this game plays as a single player. What was that?
Well, I was just thinking to myself that who we haven't seen in a while, is probably done something to himself upon news of all these new achievements. But the reason I'm laughing is because I clicked on the article, and there are people in the comments section that all are saying, "Oh, Awu's going to be buzzing with excitement over this news." So every time he plays this game, he rates it a 0.5 out of 5 on TA, and then he must just keep changing it back and forth just so he can keep rating it 0.5 over and over, and then he says a lot of expletives about the game and says it's the worst game ever. But he keeps going back to play it, so
actually, that's kind of
gotta
crazy.
get that game score.
For a little bit I've played, I want to jump back in. Holy TA!
I think that's the problem. If you play for a little bit, it's probably fine, but if you are grinding out all the achievements, it probably turns unfun really quick.
So, I didn't realize that their update was basically an entire new list. I didn't realize they just added 43 achievements.
Yep.
Another 1,000 gamer score, and this number will go down. But if you were to get them all right now, you would get a whopping 17,377 TA. Jeez,
Yep.
Liz.
Yeah, the real question is, will it be as grindy as the original list, which they did trim down, but it's still fairly significant.
You gotta think they would have learned and not made the same mistake, but
Well, there is an achievement for, and I have no idea what this means. It says receive the commendation for placing first 100 times in the arena.
okay, so they haven't learned their lesson.
Wait a minute, hold up. Completing 200 contests in the arena, and then there's delivering every kind of cooked meat to the hunters. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of fetch quests. Oh, you'll like this.
Yeah.
And a whole bunch of different quests and blah blah.
I love fetch quests. Borderlands is my favorite.
So I have no
Dead
idea
Island,
what any
too.
of this means, but holy T8, that is a lot.
Corey, are you gonna play with us?
You're talking about playing Titanfall 360, right? Because I did start that. Yeah, I'm down.
Hot Tub Crime Machine. The Arena's
Nice.
Tavern get at least one member of each crew into the hot tub at the same time.
Oh, that's a great achievement name.
That's a great achievement.
That's a great achievement name.
Oh, they've broken them out into categories. Look at that. There's all kinds of categories of achievement.
Well, it was split across 3 updates, right? 3 content packs.
Yes. Question mark? Asterisk?
I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
next thing we want to talk about, this will be a main subject. I'm going to go over how our month was. Oh my!
Oh, you want to talk about our periods?
Yes. Let's discuss our periods. It's that time of the month. Corey, why don't you take it away?
Well, I'm glad you asked about my period summary. So this probably won't really change. As of recording, I have a few hours left. Probably won't give that much. But I did just eclipse 7,000 gamer score, which was over 180 achievements, and I played 26 games. That was 10,000 TA, by the way. 26 games played, and I completed 6 games. It was a good month. 2 of those games happened to be Radalaikas. So 4
gold mines.
Not bad completions, you know. I already mentioned Max, Curse of the Brotherhood. That was a good one. Another one was Trooper Brook, which I reviewed a couple weeks ago. That was a pretty good one because it was I was second. I was the second completion on the site. One of these days,
nice.
I'm gonna get first.
Are there any shields in that game?
You know, there probably is actually. I don't know.
Yes, you need to pick up some Trooper Brook shields. All right, go ahead.
Brook shields. The other ones of note would be. Actually, I'm not going to spoil them because I'm going to bring both of them up later.
Whoa! Both of them.
Both of them.
Oh my
God. The
God.
maturity level on this podcast is
what?
So
I want to know
high.
about what he's going to bring up.
Other than that, it was pretty run-of-the-mill, just kind of playing what I wanted. Titanfall 360 was a big one to start, so looking forward to playing that. Hat in Time, I think I mentioned I started that this month to play for fun, and I kind of got to a stopping point, but I plan to go back to that one. And then the last one I'll just mention is Glass Masquerade. This came out a few months ago, but it's been really great to just do a puzzle a day, and that's usually the last thing I do before I go to bed. It's just to kind of chill and relax. I'll just do one puzzle, although they are getting harder.
As puzzle games tend to.
Well, so this is pretty much like you're building a, piece by piece puzzle that is stained glass, and you start out with the easier difficulties, and the harder difficulties just means more pieces and smaller pieces, and sometimes I think the game kind of cheats with the way the pieces are. They really are too big for the spots, but they'll end up fitting anyways. But I don't know. I've gone from completing one in several minutes to one took me half an hour the other day, but I wasn't paying too much attention. So I don't know.
This actually doesn't look that bad.
No, it's a very chill game, like I said.
It looks like the perfect chill game.
And you get an achievement for every puzzle you do, so it's a good streak saver, and you're always making progress with that completion. One last thing I will mention, because I just kind of scrolled past it, was I started a new Metroidvania game this month, which was Yoku's Island Express.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Beautiful Metroidvania pinball game, if you haven't heard. And I'm enjoying it right now, so I look forward to completing that one soon because it's not too hard. That's pretty much been my month. I've had 4 or 5 heavy days, but a lot of it's been streak saver days, just getting an achievement.
Heavy days of your period.
I wasn't gonna call that out.
I had to.
Yeah.
Sorry, X.
Continue to raise the bar of maturity.
Oh God.
But I will pass the buck on to L. So.
What about me?
How was your April 2019?
I got distracted.
Well, that's neither here nor there. How was April 1st for you? Let's take it one day at a time. How about that?
Was it a joke?
You fooled me into something, I'm sure. I actually had a very subpar month. Very disappointed.
Womp.
Almost, I had, 6,780 gamer score. 9 games started, 4 games completed. It took me until the end of the month to play an easy 1K, which might be a segue into something later, but I wound up playing through Storm Boy, and that game is about 20 minutes.
Quote unquote game.
That's it? It's only 20?
It's longer than that.
I played it with my son. No, I played it with my son. we missed the first 2 achievements, went back for them, and I believe the time between first and last achievement was about 26 minutes. So it is very short. It's, I don't want to say it's like a walking sim. Basically, you walk around and then dialogue comes up, and then you go from one minigame to the next, and each minigame has an achievement or 2 attached to it, and then it ends.
Okay, I did it in 28 minutes. I guess you're right.
Yeah, it's not long. But like I said, my son played with me, and I looked into it, and it's based on this Australian book from the 1940s, and they made a movie of it in the 70s, and another movie of it that came out this year, actually.
Wow.
What?
Yeah.
That's convenient.
And right before recording, we actually watched the movie from the 70s on Amazon Prime Video.
Did it also take 20 minutes?
It took about 86 minutes. So we're doing this in extreme reverse order. The book is probably the one to go by, because we were pointing out the similarities and differences between the game and the movie. But I don't want to give any story elements away, but it's very charming if you have a kid around. Very charming game. So it looks like, I mean, it's close to a FOOF. What's that? 8333, right?
Yes.
All right. I have to play some more easy games. Really didn't feel like playing any Ratalaicas this month. Maybe next month. Koosh?
Yeah. So, looking at my month, 201 achievements, 7,075 gamer score. We got that 1.52 ratio. Started 11 games, played 18, and completed 4 games, 3 of which were Ratalaicas. And so I'm a little underneath my 83, and I actually wanted to have like a self-imposed 9,000 a month, which would get me to my ultimate gamer score goal of 400,000 by the end of the year. So I might be playing Stormboy tonight. If I can squeeze in a K, and I don't know, there's that other Ratalaika that came out, the Bird Plus or whatever.
Bird Game Plus.
Yeah, I hate having to rely on those, but yeah, without the Ratalaikas, I'm only sitting at like 3 or 4 for the month. So,
They
but
come in
now,
clutch.
well, yeah, I've been working hard, but now that Titanfall is mostly done, at least the grinding, I can move on to some other things and get back to my other goals for the year, which I was looking at, and I have made like no progress towards them. Things like my Metroidvania completions for the year. I want to get 12 of those. I wanted to get 12 pre-2018 started games done. I've completed none of those. So I really have to get cruising on my goals for the year. And that's what I'm going to start in 2 hours.
2 hours. if we're not done talking.
Yeah. I just wanted to touch on Masquerade, because I had started that as well. And yeah, it's definitely a relaxing game. It's kind of this sort of thing where you start a match or a puzzle and you think, oh, okay, I'll just finish it. And then when you're done, you kind of want to start the next one, but you look at the clock and you're like, oh, well, that did take 20 or 30 minutes to complete that level.
I know, right?
Yeah. The nice thing about it is you don't have to flip the pieces.
Oh, yeah, I'd be so
that's
screwed.
nice.
The weird thing is when you look at the piece, you don't see the color. You just see the silhouette of the piece, and it's flipped and reversed. So it makes it kind of hard to figure out where it's going to go. And then when it comes back up, when you select that piece to place it, you can drag it around the window and put it where you want. And yeah, that whole size thing is a little bit weird, where the place that it goes into isn't exactly the same shape. So like when you get towards the end, you're like, well, why does that fit there? It doesn't quite look just right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also, luckily, they have like these dots on the puzzles, and so they highlight them in red on the wheel, and those are kind of your starting points. So it's kind of good that they do that as well.
Yeah, I had one other gripe with the game, but I do enjoy the game. But there's just one other thing that would make it a lot nicer, and that is the scrolling speed. When you go to scroll through the list of pieces, there's a whole bunch off screen. And when you go to scroll them, it's painfully slow as they scroll down onto the page where you can select them. I don't know why it needed to be like that. But it is a fun game. It does have some minor drawbacks, but yeah, if you're just taking it and you're just doing one a day or something like that, great game. What about you,
Well-
Fufu?
Well, real quick, I seen that you've been playing, or that you played Operencia. I think I said that right.
Yes.
Operencia.
Operencia.
Close
That's how I
enough.
would say it.
That is interesting.
You played that for the rewards quest, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
How was that? It looks interesting. It kind of reminds me of like a Fable.
Okay, yeah, I can sort of see that. It's interesting in that it is first-person combat, but you move on a grid. So it's kind of like a dungeon crawler, like a graph paper dungeon crawler, where you're able to move forward, back,
It's like
left, right.
XCOM.
Well, this is first person, so I
okay,
actually haven't played XCOM, so I'm not positive of that. But
If it's like grid paper, it's more like Big Rigs Truckin', I would think.
so think of Crypt of the Serpent King. I think it's a little bit like that, which I haven't played that game, but it's first person. You're looking in your environment. You can turn a full 360. You can turn any increment of degrees you want. You can look up. You can look down, but movement is restricted to forward, back, left, right, one square at a time. And so you're just navigating around the levels. There's a little bit of puzzle solving elements in order to progress. And then there is combat. Now, combat is a little bit like, what's the game from The Witcher? What is that card game? Gwent, yes. So it's got kind of a Gwent mechanic to it in that there are rows. So there's 3 rows. And certain attacks are better at certain ranges. And they have single attacks or sweep attacks that you could hit multiple people. So the combat's kind of interesting. It looks like there's going to be some depth there the farther you go along. Your resources, your skills have to basically, once you use them, you have to wait for them to come back up again. So it looks like a fun game. If you're into that kind of RPG and kind of maybe like a slower paced turn-based combat, it's definitely worth your time checking out. I mean, it's free, and it helped me with that quest.
The turn base is kind of what made me interested in it.
Yeah, you should check it out.
Well, for myself, this month, I know, I got 87 achievements, 3,645 gamer score, which equate to 4,305 TA. Started 5 games and completed 2. All those 2s were Radalaikas, so completed,
And they
2
didn't
points
suck.
for the BCM.
Did you catch that?
I did. Good job.
I listen when I'm not on.
Good job. I'm proud of you. But speaking of turn-based, one of the games I got to dive into this month was Final Fantasy VII. Love it. Yep, I was waiting for that. And, I've mentioned the other games I've played previously in the show: Idle Champions, Titanfall, Burnout Paradise, so we don't really need much going to what all
So
I've
Final
been doing.
Fantasy VII,
Yes.
one of your all-time favorite games, right?
Yes. Rotates in the top 3.
So this is one of your favorite games, top 3, and it came out on Xbox. What has inclined you to not just focus on it and play it to completion? Figure you'd want to just focus on that and just play it and enjoy it and not stop.
I don't think I've said this on the podcast yet, so I'll say it now.
You're pregnant.
Who told you? I've actually probably played Final Fantasy VII 15-ish times or so, but back on the PlayStation 1, when we had memory cards, I'm sure you guys know this, things failed. Saves got erased very often. So there was a lot of times I would get to the very end, I would get to the point where I'm about to fight Sephiroth for the final time, or I get to the 3rd disc or whatever, something happens to my save, it gets erased, and I go back and do it again. So that's one of the setbacks of why I haven't just went all in on trying to complete this, is I've done it so much. But also, when I play this game, I kind of want to be in that kind of like in that single player RPG mood, and I haven't really felt like doing that this month. As much as I really do want to complete it, I am going to complete it soon. I just haven't been in that role playing.
So I'm a lot of it is probably more like brand loyalty. Like you want one of your favorite games, you're just going to buy it on multiple platforms, and so you can support them. And and all that, right?
It was.
So that's part of it.
That was part of it. It's one of my all-time favorite games, so therefore being able to get achievements in it, and it's just like, yes, that's awesome. I definitely want that on whatever on my tag. Completed Final Fantasy VII. This also, like, I know a lot of people bought Kingdom Hearts 3 in hopes that we would get more because so much of the Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy series is console exclusive to or they just prefer to PlayStation. I don't know if they actually have exclusivity there, but in hopes that I help support them in Final Fantasy VII, they see, oh, there's interest for Final Fantasy games on the Xbox. Maybe now we'll get all the other ones. Like, I know, Elle, you talk about how 6 is your favorite. I believe it is.
Yeah, I like 4 and 6.
4 and 6, that's what it is.
the two SNES ones that made it over to America as 2 and 3 back in the day, but yeah.
And see, 6 I've played way back when, but I only played about 8-ish hours, so that's barely nothing for a Final Fantasy. And the only thing I really remember is a cutscene of the night guy. I have no idea what his name is. The night guy swinging into a castle, like the tower or something like that, and crashing. That's all I remember.
6 or 8 hours may not even get to the title screen.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So,
okay.
Then that's kind of like what you say, I buy Final Fantasy VII, here's $15, maybe we'll get more. I would love to be able to have all those other games come to the Xbox, just so I can experience them. Because going back to the PlayStation 1 and trying to play them, it's I don't much like the PlayStation controller. And, it's just a PlayStation. I would much rather play them on Xbox and earn some gamer score, even if I don't complete them.
It's possible, but it's not as enjoyable.
Yeah.
Most likely. There's some nostalgia there for some people, I'm sure, but no, I get that. I get that for the support part.
That's
true. He never supports developers.
Nope.
Buys multiple copies.
And that as well, I know how, yourself, you're not interested in playing these games, and I understand that, especially because when you look at them and the graphics are horrible. They are kind of difficult to go back to. If I hadn't played this when I was young and Final Fantasy VII being the game that got me into RPGs, there's no way I'd touch this thing. If I wanted to go back and experience a Final Fantasy, I'd play like a 10 or a 10-2 where it came out on the PlayStation 2 and the graphics are doable. They're okay. They're not horrible. Whereas, Final Fantasy VII's graphics, no. Aside for the 2 or 3 cutscenes, they're bad.
You say that, but we play these Ratalaika games. Some of them look like complete garbage.
But to be fair, that's because I can spend, 10 minutes and get 1,000 gamer score. I mean, there's sometimes I take longer to poop than to play a Ratalaika game.
All right. Do you think part of what made FF7 so good was the graphics back in the day? Did you think that was part of it? Do you think that hasn't aged well? It's interesting to think about.
I think, at least for me, what made the game so special back in the day is it was one of back then I playing a lot of Spyros, Crash, stuff like that, the kid-ish quotes platformers, whereas this, it was something totally different. It was this, I got dropped in the world, and you get dropped in this world and you just have to go find what to do next. And I remember, not being able to figure out where to go and having a strategy guide to help me because I was just lost, couldn't figure it out. Attacking while the tail's up because translation sucks.
Exactly.
So with that, this was one of the first games where I really just had to figure it out, and it helped. And this was also totally different than anything I've played at that point. Because when I first got this, I was in 4th grade.
Oh my god!
Yes, I don't know. So many of you are like, 4th grade? I was in college.
Yeah,
still in the bottle.
So did you care about the story at all?
I did. I liked the story, and I did. Which I would imagine most people do when playing an RPG like this, where you name all your different characters. I have blonde hair and blue eyes, so I'm Cloud. Instead, I don't ever have his name is Cloud. I have it as Kenny.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I love the Buster Blade. It's an awesome sword. At the time, Barrett was my friend Matt. Red 13 is always my brother because that's his favorite character, so he's always called Mikey. Now that I'm older and I'm now married, Tifa is now Brooke because, she's bae. Eris was the only person I didn't name because
someone you hate.
Fun fact, this is why I don't read ahead anymore, because back then I'm like, oh, let me look at the strategy guide, and then I get to the end and there's, Sephiroth with his sword just piercing Eris. Stop it.
You showed that in the strategy guide?
Yes. And it kind of ruined that. So it was kind of nice because it was like, oh, well, I'm not going to use her because she's going to die, and I don't need to train her. What's the point of that?
Oh, what a fun fact. Thanks for sharing.
But at the same time, it ruined that. So I didn't get that, oh my God, kind of feeling when playing it.
That was probably one of the first games that I played, because I also was in fourth grade. In the fourth grade common room of college, and we were we were all sitting around kind of playing it together, on one person's account, and then that actually is what made me go out and buy a PlayStation like later that year. I bought a PS1. I bought this game. That was like the only thing I played on it. But yeah, it was the graphics, and it was like the length of the game, and all the things that you could do.
Yes,
that's what drew me to it. When I hadn't played, the previous Final Fantasies on that console, or I don't even know what else was out there. But I then dabbled in the next two, and then got out of it again. It was just 7 was just the right time, right crew.
Yeah, with all the things they can do, it's definitely something that interests me. Like I said, you just get put into this world and you can do all these different things, and then later on, I find the Elder Scrolls Morrowind. It's just like, oh my God, this game's even bigger, and then Oblivion and Skyrim and yada yada.
And the CG at that time was like unparalleled. That was it was mind blowing.
The FMV cutscenes, and then kind of like how the backgrounds were. Just, how do you describe it?
What, the parallax? Was there parallax?
They were just moving, like they kind of moved a little bit. They weren't static.
Yeah.
And your characters.
Dynamic.
Okay.
See, I think I was too young to appreciate all that at the time. I look back on it now and go, wow, this game was really ahead of its time, especially with some of those cutscenes.
Is Final Fantasy VII on sale this week?
Doesn't look like it.
I wonder what is on sale.
I'm glad you asked. Well, we have a couple of games on sale.
It's a very smooth segue, Corey. Very smooth.
I'll try.
That was perfect. Are you picking up anything on the Xbox sales this week?
Michelle, are you here? No.
I feel like we've used that joke before.
No, never. We don't beat dead horses here on this podcast or anything. Honestly, no, I'm not buying anything for a long time because we got such awesome Games with Gold offerings this month, and that is all I need. I guess we'll talk about those later. Nothing for me this month. What about you?
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the same boat as you there, El. This is a weak if I catch my drift.
The only one I've heard that was decently easy completion was Coffin Dodgers. That one is 50% off.
Yeah,
it's $6 instead of $12. I mean,
in terms of completion estimate, I think that one was the shortest.
That was the shortest one outside of Dream Break and Uncanny Valley, which I believe are in bundles. And those, I assume it's the same bundle, and it's the awesome graphics of yesteryear bundle. Oh yes, the Digerati Made in the USSR bundle and the Digerati Pixel Art bundle Part 1.
Digerati, fun fact, Digerati also made Class Masquerade.
Ooh, what a fun
Yes.
fact. Thanks for
Dream
sharing.
Break, Uncanny Valley, Bleed, and Slain Back from Hell.
I've heard good things of for a couple of those.
The thing with Digerati, at least they have a pretty good discount. So that bundle is $10 instead of $50. So yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, if you haven't picked up any of those components of that bundle, that's pretty good.
I've done
Pretty good.
2 of the 4 Dream Break and Uncanny Valley.
I want to start Dream Break. It's only a 2-hour completion at the most, so I don't know what's stopping me.
Kenny goes to the bathroom longer than that.
I saw one thing that I thought maybe I had already picked up.
Yes.
And did not. I checked my emails. I checked Xbox.com. Yeah, there were no tabs still open for this, even though it has been on sale previously. But the console, complete season, it's $9.89 down from $29.99. It's
Console,
it's an adventure and a point and click. It's 1,000 gamer score, even though you're getting the season, so you're getting a bunch of the story and DLC. It's still only 1,000 gamer score, and I think they didn't have a good estimate listed because the estimate that was on the game said does not include DLC. So I just started adding up the numbers, and I think it's in the neighborhood of like 20 hours. But that's what you want in an adventure or point and click. You want a little bit of time investment. I don't know if you want 20 hours, but
I think we have different opinions there.
I think I'm with Corey on this one.
If you're looking to play the game, you want a little bit of time.
If you click on the walkthrough, it says 3 to 5 hours.
Weird.
So, but
Probably for episode 1, right?
Yeah, I would assume it's for the first
I
episode.
don't think so.
I don't know. Well, I'm gonna pick it up. Pretty sure.
All right, you let us know, and
I'll
then
let
you
you
play
know,
play through without a guide and tell us how many hours it takes you.
Yeah, well, that's what I prefer to do.
Before it goes off sale, so
Yeah.
we know.
I wish more of these point and clicks would be play anywhere because they just feel more natural using a mouse to me. 'Cause I'm old, and that's when I played them in the 90s. on the
Oh, you
computer.
mean point and click works better when you can actually point and click?
Yes,
Seems
that.
legit.
Yes,
Not drag and click. That's weird.
that's exactly correct.
So yeah, week for sales.
You were talking about games with gold. What's so great about games with gold this week?
There were lots of groans, lots and lots of groans this month when the list was released. I wonder what took them so long. At the end of April, right away, we got treated to Marooners on
Treated?
the Xbox One. Yeah, treated.
Okay.
And
Do you own Marooners, Kenny?
well, now he definitely owns Marooners.
I don't know,
Marooners.
he doesn't have gold, does he?
Oh, right.
Hold on, hold on.
let's do
good
Hold
silver.
up now. I have gold. Thank you, everyone. There must have been like 15 of you that have tagged me throughout the week. Hey, Fufu Cuddly Poof, look, there's a deal on Xbox Gold. Thank you all. I have gold. And thank you, Wakapale, for hooking me up with gold.
Oh. What, you have 15 different people sending you 48-hour codes, too?
I must
you
have been
afloat for a
tagged in
little
that
while.
exact same article of get 3 months or buy 3 months of gold, get 3 months free for like $21. I
Oh,
think
that was
it
a good one, actually.
Yes, it was a good deal. But after I've seen it, the 7th, 8th, 15th time, it's just like, oh, okay, I got it. I need to spend money on gold.
I actually used your gold trick this week for Titanfall because I needed to do something, a quick boost. So I looked and I had a 2-day code. I was like, you know what? I think Deuce Koosh is going to get gold for 2 days. So Deuce Koosh was playing and I was playing and we had a good time together.
What game hooked you up?
I'm guessing Deuce Koosh has a higher level than I do in that game.
It was Plants vs. Zombies.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Titanfall.
No.
So anyway, back to games with gold. So Marooners and the Golf Club 2019.
That's the new one, right? Yeah. Golf Club 1, 2, and then
Consider
2019.
it's 2019. I'm going to go for yes.
It was a $50 game.
Oh.
Was it though?
Okay, well, it's MSRP.
Yeah.
Those were the Xbox One offerings. And then the easy to say Earth Defense Force Insect Armageddon and Comic Jumper are the Xbox 360 offerings. Kenny pointed out in Discord today that Comic Jumper was also on Game Pass. So that might have been the first time they've done something like that.
Did Kenny point that out? I thought it was Hatton.
Well, Kenny stole the idea from someone, I believe.
I talked about it.
Oh, seems smart.
But
overall,
Earth Defense Force is a full 1,000, and Comic Jumper is a XBLA title. Just wanted to finish that. Go ahead, Corey.
I was just say overall, I wasn't very happy. Well, yeah, I'll just say that I wasn't very happy with the month, but in the end, I don't really care. I'm not gonna play any of them anyways. So not having, I have Comic Jumper, But I think the rest are okay.
I mean, are we
Okay, I'll
conditioned to get a free game, 4 free games every month? Do we expect better?
Yes.
So
We would like it better.
I can't take all the credit for this, but I did see somebody mention it, probably on Twitter. This might just be the strategy, kind of where we'll talk about it in a second, but Game Pass is kind of getting better games than games with gold. If you kind of look at the past few months,
Without a doubt.
Yeah, Randall Thor
so-
posted a scathing video.
I don't want to follow that fool.
Well, I watched it, and it was pretty entertaining.
I
Had my
watched it.
popcorn out.
I watched
It
it
was
as well.
It was 8 minutes of damning Microsoft, and
It's just
I
funny.
think that's a little much.
I wonder
think
how
that's
his
a little
dinners
much.
with Mike Ibarra go.
yeah.
When they go out for tacos later or ice
But
cream.
I don't know what would make people happy. Like, we've had months where we got
Unrecognizable.
Borderlands and
names.
Assassin's Creed, but
nothing
they're
is going to
old.
make people happy. I guarantee
exactly.
you, Coach Hester is going to love Golf Club 2019.
Well, I could defend Marooners. That was fun.
And there you go.
But you probably need 3 or 4 people local to really enjoy it. It's not any fun with the AI. But unlike a lot of those games of that ilk, you can play online with people, so that is good at least.
I'm just saying it could be worse.
We could have none like we used to, right? I guess.
Yeah, it could be worse, but at least for me, there's 3 new games. I'm not going to fire up Golf Club. I just can't see myself doing that. Comic Jumper, I've already had access to, and I've dabbled.
That one is a good game. That was probably the best one from the bunch. If
Golf
you were to
Club?
ask me. No. Comic Jumper.
Comic Jumper.
Oh,
And I'm looking at starting Earth Defense Force. That looked interesting. I had not known anything about it.
I saw Earth Defense Force. I got excited. I'm like, ooh, I bet that sounds like a tower defense game. I might be interested in it. And then I look at it, and it's a third-person shooter, and I went, yeah.
it does have co-op. Just pointing it out there. Hi, Michelle.
And
I
Marooners.
think, didn't TA say that was like 150-hour completion?
I did see that, but
All right, we can do it.
I don't need
Got
the
this. Got this.
I mean, you've played Titanfall twice, so I guess that doesn't phase you.
But do you
Yeah.
guys? I mean, we're gonna pay for gold just for the multiplayer aspect of it, right? So is this really just a bonus anyway?
I mean, when it comes down to it, we have gold no matter what. We're getting free games. We're not paying for these games. If they didn't offer the games a gold service, we would still pay for gold. This is just a perk. So, I mean, yay, I got 4 new games. The plus side is I don't actually have any of these, but I think the biggest problem is if you follow, I don't know if you guys do, but I follow like the PlayStation sites on like Facebook. I kind of follow a bunch of stuff. And that's one of the things I follow. And they always get games that are name recognizable, something big. Like, I think they got like The Division for free or something like that. Something that if you were to talk about with people who aren't achievement hunters,
What's that? PS Plus?
Yes.
Yes.
The casuals, I guess you can say, they're getting games that they would know. Whereas we're getting Earth Defense Force. What? Comic Jumper.
Mhm.
Comic Jumper. Who? Marooners. Never heard of it. Golf Club. Golf. It's like, I mean, cool. I got new games, and at least we did get Golf Club 2019, so that's a new game. From what I hear, Golf Club is good. Not my thing. I might try it now, just because I do hear good things about the Golf Club. But, I mean, like you said, it's a $50 game, so that means something. That's actually a good value. But it's just not that name recognized. It's just not something that people know and want to play, I guess you could say.
The nice
I would disagree. I bet you that one's going to get downloaded a lot.
But should they be giving us a AAA title? Really?
it could be an old AAA. Doesn't have to be brand new.
That's the middle ground.
To be
I don't
honest,
feel entitled to get a AAA every month, no.
okay.
But I'm still in the mindset of this is an added benefit that wasn't here, years ago. So
I do agree.
Yeah.
Like
I'd
and
be
like I said,
happy-
this is just a perk. One way or another, we're going to pay for gold. So getting 4 games a month, that is nice. But
Because in the past, we've gotten The Walking Dead Season 1 and 2. We've gotten Rise.
Yeah, every month can't be
We've
a
gotten-
rise, but
Yeah, right.
But the nice thing about this month being so bad is that next month is going to look even better by comparison, probably.
Maybe. Although we broke the trend of getting Xbox original games this
They're onto
month.
us.
I mean, I'd take another Assassin's Creed over Marooners.
Do they have any left that aren't new?
Like, I'm sure there's. I can't think of the list off the top of my head,
I think,
but I know there
might be
are a
one of the
few
only
that we
ones.
haven't gotten. So I wouldn't mind having another Assassin's Creed over these.
See, I mean,
My-
that's just personal preference. I disagree with you. I
It
would
is.
happily take Marooners.
That is definitely a preference.
My personal preference is the couple times they've introduced us to things like Guacamelee and Chariot and these indie games that were kind of Steam hits, and they introduced them to us. And I really enjoy when it's stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a game that you own. That's what I like about games with gold. Even if it's old, that's fine. I like old games, but I own it, right?
Yeah.
It's not
So-
Game Pass. I don't rent it and then it's gone, and then I have to rush at the end of a 3-month period in order to get it done.
That's true. And PS Plus, I believe, are rentals too, right? Or they're temporary.
I think you only have access to them when you have it, and yeah, they may go away if you lapse. I forget. I let mine lapse. So
Like go away permanently.
I think so. Yeah.
So Games with Gold started in June 2013, and we have gotten 147 Xbox 360 titles and 110 Xbox One titles. So, that's
And I
quite
mean,
a bit.
PS Plus, they've already stopped giving away Vita games and PS3 games. They've stopped that. I don't know. I don't. They have some good offerings sometimes, but I don't think that they're necessarily better than Microsoft's. But then again, I think Game Pass is where their focus is. So, the day one launches and then the multitude of games a month instead of just 4, you get 6 or 8.
Yeah, every week we're getting another 2 or 3 games a week.
So speaking of Game Pass, real quick, the games offered in order are Wargroove, which is May 2nd, Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus, May 2nd as well. Descenders is coming out of Game Preview. Version 1.0 is launching on May 7th, and that's coming right to Game Pass. That is a fun game. I do have experience with that one. Black Desert, sorry, Koosh, and other MMORPG fans. This one, be careful not to get sucked in.
Yeah.
May 9th, Black Desert. And I've only heard good things about Black Desert. Surviving Mars is a colony building game that comes out May 9th. Achievement Hunters Rejoice Tacoma, May 9th as well. That is a 2-hour walking sim, I think, roughly.
Yes.
Lego Batman 3 Beyond Gotham, May 16th. And then also on May 16th will be The Surge. So I think that's a pretty good month. Personally, I'm excited for really only Wargroove. And that's because I really haven't gotten to Wolfenstein yet. I already have Descenders. I know that's a good game. I'm not an MMO fan. Surviving Mars looks cool, but it looks like it'd be too timely for me. Oh, I missed one. You guys didn't even tell me. May 10th, For the King.
I thought
That
you
is
missed that. I was gonna say
launching.
that.
That is launching day 1 in Game Pass. And there was a little blurb in the article, if you read it, that said Game Pass owners get it 3 days early. So that might be coming May 7th. But that
that's
is a
cool.
new roguelike tabletop game. So looks cool. And then Lego and The Surge I'm kind of met on, but I'm glad I'll have them. Actually, I already have Lego Batman 3, so yeah. I'll be excited to try out Wargroove for sure, though, because it's play anywhere, so that'll be,
That's perfect.
here at work, little turns here and there.
Okay, so
What about
For
you
the
guys?
King looks neat.
Anything you're excited for?
It's a great month. I mean, there's not really. I mean, Surviving Mars is probably the one that I would throw away. Maybe For the King. But yeah, these all look like fun.
And
Darn
the thing is,
Crack Desert.
that might not even be the finite list. They could they might add more. So it's always
They have done that in the past. So
I mean, just for example, today they announced all of those games except for Descenders. But then the Descenders dev announced that they're coming out and coming on Game Pass May 7th. So right there, the first, just before the first title's launch, they've already added another one.
And isn't E3 coming up soon? Like that's
E3 is a month and a few days away.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I expect good things here. Exciting stuff.
yeah, you can definitely tell that their focus is on Game Pass because this is a really good list. I mean, I'm interested in Wolfenstein, Black Desert, Surviving Mars. I guess I'll be the only one that's interested in that. Tacoma, Florida King. I mean, Lego Batman 3 if I ever decide to jump back into that, but Lego games aren't really my thing. Oh, I will say, I've never played a Wolfenstein game. Is this something that if I jump into this one, I'm just going to screw myself and I would be better off playing them in order, or do you guys know?
I haven't finished the first one, but since it's heavily story driven, I would say do the first one first. And they even had a prequel to that?
Well, it depends on what you want to call a prequel.
What's the
Prequel,
first one considered?
pre-sequel.
The 360 one?
No, I'm talking about the reboots is what I would say.
Okay. So you're not talking about the PC for the Apple
The 360 Wolfenstein, and then
Castle
which
Wolfenstein.
then
What is it? The
New
Old
Order.
Blood and the New Blood?
New Order.
Those came out on the Xbox One. I would say play those because
Okay.
there's probably some continuity with those and Wolfenstein 2, the New Colossus.
I would also think like engine and mechanics, you're going to be stepping backwards. If you play this and you like it and you go back.
Oh, that's very true. Okay,
It's
maybe
not
I
many-
won't jump into that right away.
It's not that many years, but there's probably some improvements.
But that being on Game Pass, that's what I was talking about, as a game recognition thing. You hear Wolfenstein, you go, oh, I may not know anything about it, but it's a good game. If for no other reason, it's Bethesda. So it's like, okay, this is probably a good game. If I spent my money on it, it's probably worth it.
Are we going to have achievements, Corey, in Descenders?
You know what? That's a good question. I haven't seen the word achievements in the dialogue that was shared, but I would have to think that if it's version 1.0 and it's releasing, then that's I don't. There hasn't been a game that's released without achievements, right?
I don't think so. I
No.
think they have to have them.
Yeah. So it's been a while since I've played it. Probably close to a year because I got it right when it came out, and there was no multiplayer at that time. And I know that they've worked on a bunch of adding maps and different modes, and multiplayer as well. So
What do you think is the possibility?
the game itself is hard, and I expect the achievements to be pretty hard as well.
Do you think they're going to be pretty straightforward? Do you think they'll be fun, like, tail whip a baby? Or
Yeah, I think it's gonna be pretty straightforward. I don't really see them. They seem like a fun studio, but I don't know if that's really where their focus is. And you know what? I might as well check Steam and see if that's happened there. But I think they're releasing version 1.0 everywhere at the same time.
There's a page on TA for Descenders, but it just says achievements will appear when available. So nothing yet. Al, you interested in any of these games?
There's one I'm interested in that I will leave for the next topic.
All right.
moving right along.
All right, well, let's move into our contest corner. First contest we want to go over is, the BCM Frame Holes Completion Challenge. This week's topic that we're going to focus on is short and sweet. Complete a game whose title is less than 10 letters long. Letters only, numbers and punctuation do not count. So, Elle, why don't you let us know about that game you were talking about?
All right, I will. When I first saw this, my immediate thought was Refunct, but then I looked and I did that one back in December, so I couldn't believe it. So that one's off the table.
That's funky.
It's yes, funky like a monkey. Ooh yeah. So I'm gonna go with the Game Pass game Tacoma because that's supposedly not too bad of a completion. So that one's mine. What about you, Nate?
Short and sweet, The Maw. I love my 360, not at 1,000 Gamerscore games. I like the company. Is that Drinkbox?
Twisted Pixel.
Twisted Pixel. Okay, same difference.
Same people who made Comic Jumper.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
Yeah, I liken them to to a
And
drink
Explosion
box.
Man. And Missplosion Man. And Loco Cycle.
Yep. So I'd like to wrap that one up. Be done with them all. About you, Corey. Right back at you.
So I alluded to a game that I did not mention in my period summary that I completed this month, and that happened to be another Metroidvania, which was Owlboy. Fits this
Nice.
category perfectly. So that one is done and dusted, and
Too soon.
very mediocre Metroidvania, if you ask me. But it's done.
Congratulations on that completion.
Thanks. It was it's a juicy one. Like, I don't know, it's in the 2000s for TA. It's pretty much just because most of it's tied to in-game stuff. Going back and getting the collectibles. Having a vasectomy really helps your gaming.
Oh my goodness.
Well, just the one time, though.
Speaking of owls, does anyone remember? Definitely can. I'll direct this to Nate. Do you remember the Tootsie Roll owl?
Of course. One.
Hey, I know that commercial.
You do?
Ooh.
Yeah,
It's from the 80s.
I know.
How many?
And that's how
You remember
it's still
it too,
on
Corey?
TV, I think.
Is it really?
I'm pretty sure it is.
It's definitely on the internet.
That's what I just thought of.
Mr. Owl.
Hey,
I don't know where you're going with this.
I don't know, just what it reminded me of. There's an owl.
Oh, okay.
Owl Boy. What?
This owl's a mute though, so
Owl Boy, Storm Boy, Bowl Boy. I don't know.
and let
Right.
me guess, Fufu's gonna pick some Ratalaika game because that's all he plays now.
No. I'm not picking a Ratalaika game. I'm picking a game I absolutely hate. I got one stupid achievement left in it, and it's driving me nuts, but I want it off my tag. I'm doing a semblance.
All right.
I'm just saying you could pick Iron Snout. That fits here.
I could, but I'm going to use
Well-
this as motivation to get this last achievement. Irony is that the achievement is titled White, that I can't get.
Why is that irony? Come on now.
Go get some sun.
Oh.
There we go.
Corey powered through that one, eventually got it, right? So you
I
can do
hate
it.
it.
I did, yeah. I went back to it, I don't know, probably a couple months ago, and I think I spent like maybe half hour, did it over and over, and I did not stop. Finally got it.
I'm going to have to do that. You know, the completion estimate is 0 to 1 hours. So far, I'm at an hour and 37 minutes. I hate this game. That one stupid achievement, man.
It's all about timing, and I think actually, I don't even know if I played it multiple times. I may have got quicker than I just said, because I got the timing down, and then I looked at a stopwatch at certain times and got it, I think, the next go. So there's a little bit of science to it,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Next contest we want to go to, and which is L's favorite, Art TDL.
Or TDL, the random to-do list. Are you setting me up to talk about this?
Yes.
I'm
Okay.
twitching as we're recording this. The new lists just dropped, and you keep talking about stupid things like go get some sun. Actually, that's a pretty cool thing. Go get some sun, Kenny.
No. The sun creates flowers, and the flowers give me allergies, and the allergies give me...
Ah.
That'd
Well,
be
anyway.
great podcasting material right there. Everyone's going
Ma-
to love that.
Now, to anyone who doesn't know, the random to-do list is when you get a random list of 25 achievements of your locked achievements. You need to have at least 1,000 locked to qualify, and different achievements from different ratio groups are drawn, and you have the entire month to try to get them. Now, you can use this. There are leaderboards, so there's sort of a contest element to it, but you can just use this as an excuse to play games from your backlog. The contest is run by the Real Gamer Score podcast, specifically Chin Doctor. And speaking of
Good day, mate.
Mr. Chin Doctor, he came up with an idea. He wanted to challenge me to a friendly competition of podcast versus podcast. But originally it was just going to be me versus him. And I said, no, let's get some more people involved. But his two co-hosts, Professor Pluto and Planting42, don't really participate in RTDL too much, but I believe he talked them into it. And what we've decided, because of that, he reached into his into the community and gotten LA Justa and Benel72.
Xlax.
Xlax was here. And they got their 5. And our 5 will be me and Rocker Dude.
Back in the game.
And Mishkaila. That's Matriarch. As well as Elroy and Wakapel. So there's going to be some 5-on-5 crazy action. If you look at the leaderboards, our team members are in blue and their team members are in green.
Well, mostly blue.
Wow.
Fix it.
You're not blue?
I wasn't.
Dabu dee
Oh,
dabu
well.
da.
You could be whatever color you want, Roker. We love you. So I don't believe we're going to have any stakes, or maybe we'll come up with some stakes
Ooh.
during
Steaks? I would have entered.
stakes and weights.
I'm hungry.
Corey, do you have the list in front of you?
Yes.
Go
Yeah.
go to Michelle's. Tell me what you say.
Let's go to Michelle. Tell you what I say.
It's something that we talked about earlier.
Oh, wow.
All right, so
Wow.
she got 1, 2, 3, 4 Final Fantasy VII achievements.
Jeez. Can we swap lists, Michelle?
I
2
know.
Guacamelee
Isn't that crazy?
achievements. Storm Boy.
Lots of
Super Weekend Mode Midnight Deluxe. 3 Crackdown 3 achievements.
Yeah. Clumpiness, right?
Yeah. This one says Orb Hunter. Is that like the main orb one?
Probably,
Collect
yeah.
every
So I guess we're
agility
doing a
orb.
lot of Crackdown. So, and I also got 2 Crackdown 3 achievements on mine. Looking at it now. And I got a Final Fantasy 7 achievement, which is one of the ones she got. So yeah, randomness is clumpy or not.
Oh,
Check-
look at this.
Check
She
out my
got-
3rd achievement. I know you want to talk about it.
She's got one that you will like, and that's complete Manuel Samuel in co-op mode.
Ooh.
All right, you said look at you.
Yeah. My 3rd achievement.
One Donut County.
Oh, boy.
Am I going to enjoy that game?
Gotti. Actually, it's the GOAT. Greatest
The
of
game
all time.
of the year. Oh, the greatest game of all time.
All time. For this year.
And where the bees make honey. I got some classic achievement hunting 101 games on this list.
Oh, you
as
said
well
bees.
as Siggy.
Or you said honey. You win a
Siggy.
game.
Yes, thank goodness. Very excited. As soon as we stop recording, I'm going to jump in, play something or other. Oh no, Puzzle Bobble. Master of Infinite Patience. Do you know what that is?
It's the one that you're going to get Michelle to do.
Probably. You have to play for 60 minutes in a row without dying. Sounds fun. I tried it once and made it to, 40 or 50 minutes. The trick there is to not actually shoot off the ball. You just let go of the controller and let it shoot off, so that's the most amount of time. Well,
Cool.
that would give me a completion, so I look forward to getting it done.
And you got
Yeah.
a wrestling achievement.
I did get a wrestling. Excited.
So yeah, I'm
I'm
looking
always
forward to
excited.
getting back into RTDL though.
Man,
Real
I need to
friendly
curate my list.
competition.
Get anything we're talking about?
I have a lot of Borderlands Game of the Year edition. The new one. I think as I scroll
Sorry to hear
down
that.
to my name. No, I'm looking forward to it. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 achievements. No, 5. I have 5 achievements in that game, so I will be playing a lot of that. I do have a Glass Masquerade achievement, so that will be fun.
That's nice.
Got to do another playthrough of Oxenfree. Not really looking forward to that, if I'm honest.
Oh, your hardest achievement. Ouch.
That one might be a reroll. It's called
Might.
Master for the Power Rangers game, and it happens to be where you have to reach Master League, which is the top ranked league, and only 14 people have it.
You know you're re-rolling that one. That one sucks.
I don't know.
Come on,
I
get
don't
it
know.
done.
Today, an update for the game came out. I don't know if it did any balancing things, but I will honestly give it my fair try before re-rolling it.
Paladins on your list. You haven't dived into that game yet? That was actually a fun little game.
No, I've dived it. That's why it's on my list,
Ah.
you dummy.
Well, I didn't know if you just added it to your games collection. Jerk.
I'll do that.
My goodness. Children.
So yeah, my list looks very good, very doable. And as far as Metroidvanias goes, it looks like I'll be playing Song of the Deep and
Nice.
Danger of the Ooze.
Cowabunga.
Let's see. Does Koosh participate in this particular event?
I'm not. Well, I'm not in the podcast competition, but
Podcast Wars 2019.
Oh, you're a
non-curator.
Good on you.
oh yeah.
Oh yeah. As far as we haven't. The other thing I was going to say is the new quadrimester started, so I'm not quite sure if we're going to run the whole quadrimester or if we're just going to do a month-to-month thing.
Is that 3 months or 4 months?
One of those things. Well, yes, 4 months since we just finished the 4th month. Yes, the next 4 months.
Both of you, Koosh and L, have SteamWorld Dig achievements. Y'all need to finish that game.
Yeah, I didn't put my hat in the ring because I didn't want to drag the team down because I have not.
That's okay.
I've not been.
It's just for fun, yo.
Oh no, I get it, but
get some stuff done. Maybe we could swap out next month. We'll see.
Quadrimester.
Get rid of some dead weight.
3 months.
Well, I definitely
Because there's 12 months in a year, not 16.
Stop talking.
Well, it's not part of. No, it's not for the competition. I do see some stuff that maybe I'd be tempted to go do, like Rayman Origins, like that game. I see some Boggle. Maybe I'll get on the treadmill and do some Boggle. Disney Infinity. I've been meaning to do that. And then, of course, my SteamWorld Dig. I want to get that completion, hopefully in May. So maybe I'll just knock that one out. There's a couple things in there.
Painkiller, Hell, and Damnation.
What about you, Foof?
I don't know. I don't have this Disney Infinity one for level 2 characters to level 15.
Sounds like your daughter. You're training her up on Paw Patrol. She can time to step it up.
Yeah, need a training montage.
All right. While we're at it, I may as well go over the top 10 of the April leaderboard, and it looks like 11 people got 10 or more. So way to go, everybody!
How many is in the competition, or whatever you want to call it?
How many
Not
people
not
got
really a competition.
lists?
Yes. How many people got lists? Because I'm too lazy to look.
A lot of people are tied at 56, so it's kind of hard to tell. I would say a good 80 or 90 got lists.
Ooh. And
55 people got at least one in April. So if that helps you. Out of those 55 people, LA Jester got 10, NBA Kirkland got 12, But the Fug got 11, Enigma Gamer got 12, Shabobble Bobble 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 Bubble Bobble got 14, Fresh 33666669999 got 15, Reset 42 got 16, Homer got 13. There it is. And the big guys, Ben L got a whopping 23. And as I mentioned last week, Wildwood Mike finished his list with all 25.
Combo!
And a couple of days ago, I matched that and also got a full combo.
Combo!
Finishing off the last couple of achievements that I needed in Westerado, which has some ridiculously inflated ratios. You can get an 8 ratio achievement in less than an hour in that game just by doing what the guy tells you to do.
True.
For whatever reason, people just pick up that game and maybe they don't like it, they put it down. I don't know. It's not that hard.
Game Pass.
It's a wonderful thing. 2 FCs this month. Not bad.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting on with the list. So that can only mean one thing. Proclamation point. What the fuck? 200 completions. Awesome job. Mike Pitch has won 14,000 achievements and still needs to finish Brothers. And Buffs has 17,000 achievements. Emperor L has reached a new milestone of 150,000 gamer score.
Nice. L.
Nice. I see what you did there. Kitty Skies is now in the top 20 of the Whales TA leaderboard. I wonder if the Dolphins get their own category too. Rucker Dude. I know that's bad. Did something with Metroidvanias.
Again.
Top 500 of TA. That's getting like a new thing every week, Corey.
Almost to that goal, top 100.
And Be Or Me is now in the top 50 of the Minnesota Gamerscore. Nice. Gamerscore leaderboard.
Nice.
We had a couple of birthdays. Isrit102, happy birthday. His birthday was April 29th. He got like 75,000 versions of Mortal Kombat 11 for his birthday, I believe.
Good birthday.
And as of recording, it's still his birthday. Sasha Morning, happy birthday to you as well, buddy.
Happy birthday, guys.
And in the community spotlight, I will put the illustrious Carpe Adam 79, who didn't start off as much of an achievement hunter, but he's been kicking butt and taking names. He reached 100,000 gamer score.
Woohoo!
And he used the achievement Welcome to Prominence from Prominence Poker. So
Good one.
He planned out a fun one to use. And that's for completing the tutorial. But it's still a funny and a fun one to do.
Good achievement.
Congratulations to Carpe Adam 79 and the rest of the crew. Oh, and one more important thing, since all of you were asking me about my Vision Cam exploits of last week. If you remember, I went out and bought a Vision Cam because I couldn't find mine. And sure enough, a couple days later, I did find my Vision Cam. So
You have an extra?
good news is, well, I gave it to Michelle, so the good news is now we both have one, and I don't have to lend her mine. So we
now
can
you
use
can
it
go play
for...
Viva Pinata.
That's actually, yes, Viva Pinata, the second one. You
Yeah.
can scan, which I've tried before. It takes forever to scan one of those things.
It's not great.
And then, of course, there's always Uno.
Windscape is a first-person exploration adventure game as described by developer Magic Sandbox. Published by Head Up Games, a copy was provided to us for review.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. All right, so here's my review. It'll be quick, I promise. I know we went long. So, this was the other game I played this past month that I did not mention at the top of the show, to not spoil it. But I played this on day 2 of vasectomy recovery, just to let you know, because we're family here, we don't have secrets. All right, so Windscape, right?
Wow.
Playing as a young girl, you start out with a few quests that lead you to discover that bad stuff has happened in this video game world, which now relies on you to resolve. So insert video game cliche here. So besides questing, you have some light dungeon crawling that kind of ties into that quest line. And the game also gives you some very limited crafting mechanics. So initially I was turned off by the crafting because that's not my style. I have been known to not play a game just solely because it has a lot of crafting in it. Fortunately, the crafting was very insignificant in my playthrough. Just to elaborate a little bit, the crafting requires materials which you get from killing and gathering. So killing enemies like a spider might get you some silk, and then you can go and you can knock down a tree or mine for ore to gather materials is another way to get them. And you make things like soups for your health, better equipment for defense and offense, and you can upgrade your rather bland spells. The graphics, they remind me of a polygonal, I guess is a word, Skyrim with bright colors. The sound was pretty forgettable since I can't remember it. And the gameplay, as I mentioned, the questing, the fetching, it was mediocre at best. All in all, it would probably take you 8 to 10 hours to complete. I think that's what it took me. I did it all in a day, on and off. As for the achievements, there's only 16 of them, and they range from 50 to 100 gamer score each. And I guess technically 4 of them could be counted as missable, although because they have you do something, so many times. But it's pretty much guaranteed that you're going to do every single one of them if you play the story from start to finish, because the requirements are super low. And those are gather 10 resources. So if you never craft anything, I guess you could miss this. Defeat 5 enemies, craft 5 items, and cut down 5 trees. Now, saying that out loud, I could probably remove the defeat 5 enemies because you'll probably have to do that anyways. It might be impossible to miss, but who knows? I didn't count that hard. Now, the remaining 12, well, it's not the remaining, 12 of the 13 remaining achievements just come from entering different parts of the game world, none of which are optional. So again, playing from start to finish, you're going to get every single one of those achievements. And that only leaves one achievement left, and that comes from defeating the final last boss. There's no difficulty to select that I recall. But I had no problems playing this game from start to finish until the final boss. And actually, the boss before the final boss, I did die a couple of times before I found a cheese. There is a quote-unquote Jesus rock, I guess you would call it, from the Left 4 Dead days, that as soon as you start the fight, basically stay where you are, don't move, and spam your spells. You might get hit once before claiming victory, but it's going to be at the end, probably, and it's going to be minimal damage. At least that's how it was for me. So, easy way to, that you if you're struggling, that boss before the last one, just stand there and shoot. Now, the last boss is the only time I really got frustrated with the game. And I got really nervous because I wasn't really catching the gist of how the boss fight went and how to approach it after a few times, because there was a lot of one-hit kills in there, and the patterns weren't, I don't know, they just, something was off about them. And the part that really got me down was right before the boss. You're in this area, and I decided not to upgrade my spells to the maximum upgrade for them, which probably hurt me some, but it hurt me more when I couldn't go back to the game world to go fix that and grind a little bit and max them out. Now, there was a door to go back to that area, but it seemed like it was broken. It wasn't oh, the door is broken, you can't return until you beat the boss kind of broken. It was more of, hey, you want to go back? Loading. Oh, you want it to stay right in the same spot. Gotcha, kind of way. So I was not impressed, to say the least, about that. But in the end, I did beat the final boss. It just took it a little slower, so that made the boss fight kind of boring, and it was, quite honestly a lackluster finish to this game overall. But luckily, the achievements came fast, and the game only slightly overstayed its welcome. I was pretty much done with it, I don't know, an hour and a half before I actually finished it. Not too bad. Again, if you sit down and play, you could probably knock it out in a weekend or a day if you have minor surgery, and yeah, you'll be good. But Windscape, again, it's a $20 title, $20 US American dollars, that is. I could not justify this game at full price, but I would recommend it on a sale. But as a very mediocre game, I'm going to give it a very mediocre rating at 2 out of 5.
Well, I gotta say, while you were talking, I was watching the gameplay trailer.
Mm-hmm.
I know you didn't like this, but this looks like it's right up my alley. I actually think I would really enjoy this.
All right, tell me one game that it reminds you of.
RuneScape.
Oh.
Okay.
It reminds me of RuneScape, and like you said, a very basic Skyrim. Both of which games I absolutely love. Have spent way too much time in both those games. And this very much looks like a Skyrim on the PlayStation 1 era, I guess you could say. Very bright, very basic graphics. And I love games where you can craft, you gather resources, create armor, upgrade your spells.
Now, when I say upgrading and crafting, it's those things in the most basic way you can think.
I realize that. I figured that being a ID at Xbox title, I don't expect this, very intricate thing.
So the reason I asked you what it reminded you of is because the developer, he pretty much, I think this was the one that he said that his influences were Zelda. Now, I'm not the biggest Zelda fan, and he put some references in, but I did not get any Zelda vibes.
This was the one where the email said, "Hey, Corey, listen," and I was telling you about.
Oh, that game. I remember you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was telling you about Zelda 64.
The Zelda vibes, other than maybe the visually, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm getting PTSD from Shadow of Loot Box.
Yeah.
As I'm just looking at these screens, like I swear, oh, there's that level in Shadow of Loot Box, and oh, there's that level.
Sounds about right.
It looks very, I don't know, 90s. Like a high-end computer would run it in the 90s. I don't know. The developer said he was a huge fan of Zelda and Golden Axe Warrior and Secret of Mana, which I didn't play those, the latter two, but I don't know. It was
We need that game with achievements
for the day, but I'm glad it didn't really take a lot longer than that. And I'm glad the achievements weren't super grindy.
Role-playing game, magic, sword, shields, crafting. Yeah, that's up my alley. I think I might actually enjoy this.
All right, Corey. So here's the ultimate question for you. Would you rather play Windscape again on a separate tag or Vasectomy 2?
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, man. That is a tough one. Just for recovery time, I'll play this again. That was not a fun week after, but I did enjoy the 1,000 gamer score, so
fair enough.
Yep. And that was Windscape.
All right. Well, I think that'll about do it for the show, unless anyone else has something they'd like to add.
I like Toidles.
Let's get back to Sea of Thieves.
All right. Well, we are on YouTube, Spotify, Libsyn. Oh, wait, no, we're not on Libsyn no more. We are on Podbean now. Wherever it is that you like to listen to the show, please like and review us and smash that subscribe button. If you want to contact us, our Twitter, we are on Twitter at Achievements101. We also have a Mixer, mixer.com/AH101. And most important, come join the community. Our Discord is discord.io/AH101. All right, guys, class dismissed. Talk to you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
But for real, we're still on YouTube, same place.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Other sequential segment with Matriarch, X the Hero, and El Royo and Jeff. Love that guy.
What's up, everybody? Now, we all know that I love pandas. But you know what else I love? Unicorns. Little known fact about X the Hero is that he frickin' loves unicorns. In my desk at school, I literally have 5 unicorn-themed flavors of hand sanitizer, which I am fully aware is the epitome of masculinity. Even as we record, I am sipping a unicorn-flavored martini just to really drive the point home. And, since we're on topic, Rainbow Dash is totally the best pony. Come at me. Beyond that, what else do I and my lovely VSS co-hosts love? Themed episodes. And in honor of our 40th episode, we thought we'd reflect on our favorite 40 gamer score achievements. But before we get into that, some pleasant 40s.
Oh, I see what you did there.
You tried.
Swing and a miss, I guess. I'll blame the unicorn martini. He is ranked 227th in soccer games, loser, in the United States. He is Elroy Oma Jesus.
Nice. I'm the expert in any 40 gamer score achievements. Everything I get, I'm in my 40s and I get my gamer score achievements. So I think that I'm very well qualified in this area. But speaking of pleasant 40s, let me tell you something. What's not pleasant 40s is that soccer keepers. Now, if you have a good soccer keeper, you know that it's something you just take for granted. So you don't know that you have a bad soccer keeper until you don't have until you don't have a keeper. So, like today, I was seriously considering hauling the barrel off to the side, the little trash barrel, into the middle of the goal, just to see if it would ricochet the ball further away from the goal, and the off chance they hit the ball right into the freaking barrel, which would be more effective than what I had in the goal, which was a beast of a student that's like just immobile. Like but anyway, it was not a good day at the soccer fields today.
Okay. And
I could go on and on about it, but
please don't.
Yeah, it's But there's a through ball, right? Through ball goes through the defense,
And he's doing it anyway.
And so you have the keeper is supposed to come up and save the ball. You have all day the ball literally from about midfield, and all you have to do is just kind of go outside the 18 barely. I mean, and you have a head start, and there's no reason why you should be getting outran like that. I mean, unless you're a trash barrel, which it wasn't. But I longed for a trash barrel back there, and I'm done talking about it.
Okay. Also joining us is the woman who is ranked 185. It's a tie for collections in this lovely country of the U.S. of A. She is Matriarch, as Elroy would say. Matriarch.
Collections?
Collections.
What's collections?
I thought it was very fitting since we're talking about a collection of 40 Gamerscore achievements.
What kind of collections you got? I'm just curious.
Collections to me sounds like a debt problem. Like I'm not sure.
I mean, I collect controllers and stuffed pandas and scotch. I also collect scotch.
I used to, one of my more unusual collections, I used to collect hobo signs. Like if I saw them on the corner and there was nobody guarding them, I'd jump out and grab them. And I hung them in my garage. I had a bunch of these different hobo signs.
You are the best kind of person. And with that, let's get into our favorite or most memorable or least memorable or most frustrating or, sexiest, take your pants offest, most whateverest 40 Gamerscore achievements we have. Start us off, the Roy Oma Jesus.
All right, well... So, just to be clear, I'm not sure a lot has transpired since the last time we told what we were actually doing. So, these are all achievements that are 40 gamer scores. So, this is our most memorable ones. And
or least memorable, or most frustrating, or sexiest, or most pants taken off, and most whateverest.
Oh, I guess you did describe it. So,
I did. I totally did.
Yep, okay. So, that happened. And so, I'm going to start off with one called Marathon. All right, Marathon. Now, I like marathons in the sense that I can run. I did a half marathon once. Got it under 2 hours. I hear that's a decent time. But in this case, marathon comes to us from Microsoft Solitaire. So the description is, came back each day of an entire month and completed at least one daily challenge. So I had this on my tag for a while. I mean, once you start... Solitaire, that's kind of one of those last ones that you get where those gold medals, those silver medals, those bronze medals, all those games like that. Microsoft this, Microsoft that, Jackpot, Microsoft Bingo, Microsoft, whatever, all those games. So this one was the daily challenge one for Solitaire, and I've never had much luck in getting these type of date achievements where you have to log in and do it. And so I picked January. I figured I'm going to start this year off right, and I am going to log in and get this on my phone in January every day. I had tried it in the past. I got like maybe 12 days, and then I would forget or something. It just never worked out. I just always forget. And so I found the way to do it would be to finally incorporate it into my schedule. So I thought, well, where is that most consistent, where I know I'm going to be at a certain time? So I immediately thought my morning bathroom break, where I sit on the throne and kind of wake up and try not to wake up my wife. And so I usually do my binging then. And then I thought, well, I get the bing out of the way, and then I get the solitaire out of the way. So I started.
Is that like a poop reference?
A bing?
Yeah.
Oh man, you don't bing?
No.
I thought we were a little more mature and dignified than.
Man, I bing all over the place, man.
That's what
I've seen the pictures of your student bathrooms.
Man, well, I bing all over my bathroom, and let me tell you something. So y'all don't do the daily reward set on Bing? Okay. So I'm just curious, what is yours up to?
My total points?
No, like your daily. Like how many? What's your streak at?
I only get online and do stuff for leisure when I'm at work, so I never get more than a 5-day streak.
Okay. See, I finally incorporated it into my routine. I finally got it all set in place, and I'm doing quite good. I used to have the day, like the streak would always be resetting on me, but I am currently on a 117 current day streak. Yeah,
that's nice. Impressive actually.
Yeah, thank you.
Very
So that's a lot of trips to the bathroom. That's 4 months of being in the bathroom, and so and then also for you bingers out there getting points, nice little. If you have a phone, most people do, and it doesn't have a cord on it or something. It's like one of them smartphone things. So you like get on there.
It just came out in Tennessee.
Yeah, it's exciting times down here, and so you get that reward set, and then immediately I used to like just stop there, but then I realized something. Then I go to the homepage, and then I click on underneath whatever the picture is. It says near me, news, restaurants, movies. If you click on news, then all you have to do is just hit it says top stories at the top. Just hit top stories, then hit sports, then hit U.S., hit local, hit world, hit science, hit technology, hit entertainment, hit politics, hit business, and you get the idea. And you get basically that's 80 points out of your 100 on your search engine. So you can basically pad your daily stats by doing that, and then just do 4 general searches or whatever. You type in one word, and then you can click on something, then click on it again, and then click it with an extra word after that. Usually a good one to start with is dog, and then you click on it again. It says dog breeds, dog sizes, dog this, dog that. You click on one, and then that's how I get my 100 points every day on that. And so, what was I talking about?
I think you were talking about daily challenges in solitaire.
Yes.
Yeah,
so,
and marathon.
Right. So marathon, it's not a terribly difficult achievement. It has a 3.13 ratio on the old cellular device. So remember it is the key. So this one stuck out in my mind is one that is one of my favorite 40 pointers because I'm so proud of myself for finally incorporating it into my routine. And I was even on vacation during January, so I was using the commode in San Antonio for PAX, and I didn't really have to. It was just part of my routine at that point. I didn't have to worry about waking her up. So, but it was just part of the routine at that point. So I was especially proud of myself, and also I had a few days off, milk day, all that good stuff, and so marathon. That was my number 3.
I feel like your contribution to the podcast was like 45 seconds of content and 4 minutes of Elroy.
Well, as long as it's 40 seconds of content, it's topical.
Oh, nicely done. Em, what you got?
All right, so for my number 3 achievement for this week.
Number 3.
Number 1, I whatever. Your first one.
It's a little bit of a different structure this week. So the first achievement I'm going to talk about this week is actually an achievement I've talked about on a VSS before. So we have another entry into our rare selection of games that have come up more than once. And I think this might be the second time a specific achievement has come up more than once. Anyway, I didn't do the research. But I'm going to talk about Dark Ritual from Gems of War. So way back in episode 2 or 3, before X joined us here and our triumvirate was complete, we discussed the top achievements we'd pay to make go away, and one of my choices was Dark Ritual from Gems of War, which requires you to craft the Sthenos troop. This is because it takes a lot of hours. But as it turns out, I have a lot of hours because I don't have a whole lot to do when I'm not at work, and I did eventually get this one done. It weighs in at 40 gamer score, so it was a perfect choice for this. And it did take probably about 300 hours of playing to do. Now, similar to what Elroy was just saying, though, with regard to Marathon, it's not a hard achievement per se. It's just a matter of dedicating the time to do it. Now, I have not yet rigged out my home to play Gems of War while on the commode. And if I should do that someday, it might make my life a little easier. But it was very nice to get this one out of the way. It currently sits at a 6.4 ratio, so it's still worth a good amount of gamer score and TA score. So it's a good one if you can get there, but it just, the way that it's structured, there's no way to shortcut it, even if you do pay to make it go away as best you can. So that was my first choice for this one, because it was certainly memorable to finally get that one done.
Nice.
All right. So I like that you guys, your first one is, long or grindy, high ratio achievement. I went the opposite approach entirely. So my first pick goes to I'm going to butcher this, but it goes to Yubikiri Onigaishimasu achievement from Memories Off 6 Next Relation. For those of you who are curious, this achievement translates to, please put your finger out, please.
Huh.
Double.
They say that's nicely.
Yeah. Please put your finger out, please. Yubikiri Onigaishimasu. I think that was better the second time. Anyway, you earned this achievement for seeing both endings for Yuno. And Yuno is one of the lovely ladies for you to romance in this game. So why is this memorable for me, since I didn't understand a damn thing the game was talking about? Well, it's not actually the first Japanese visual novel that I played. It's the second. But it's pretty much the game that kickstarted my entire achievement whoring career. I purchased my Japanese 360, and it came with like 10 VNs because the guy who sold it to me had no idea what it was worth. And the first one I played was Code 18, and I didn't really get it. I put it in, and I played it, and I'm like, cool, that was 1,000. Okay. Whatever. With this one, though, I was totally on board. Like, I got it. I'm like, okay, cool. Pull up Sangria's guide, get 1,000 gamer score in a couple hours. Done. So, thanks, Memories Off 6 Next Relation, because without you, there's a good chance that I never would have played such gems as Jack and Jill DX, Super Destronaut DX, Energy Cycle, Energy Cycle Edge, One-Eyed Couth, or Game of the Year, North. And, for what it's worth, Yubikiri Onigaishimasu, please put your finger out, please, has like a 1.01 ratio.
Ooh.
So,
someone's missing it.
Hardcore.
So you know.
I do know, you know.
We say things twice because they mean more that way, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Have you met my wife?
Kelly? Last I heard, I was on top of her.
They make me choke on my... yeah, I just thought I'd do a nice little callback to that great moment. Number two. Number two. All right. Number two, I have two for number two because they're basically the same thing or same concept. They are Triggy and Crawfish Triggy in
more double entries.
Yep.
Two.
Yeah.
Two. Yeah. All right. Nice.
Yeah. Triggy and Crawfish Triggy and Bud Spencer's Slapping Beans, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong this, but I think we possibly have talked about this game at some point during this podcast. Maybe it was a review, maybe it was in, I don't know, Stay a While and Listen, maybe it was in basically every single segment I've done except for Achievement Wildlife Hunters. I think it's made the circuit. So I don't know that there's...
You've mentioned this, but I've also mentioned it when I was doing my St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yep. The chugging the beer and the sausage and all that stuff.
Hey, chugging the beer with the sausage?
Yeah. Yeah, nice one, eh? No.
That's Canada, but continue.
Well, are you saying... Yeah, okay. I don't know. I'm going to stay away from it. Now, we've talked about this before, but when you go through it, you go through the races, and you know something's up, because you get through the race, and... like nothing, you're like, okay, so I need basically shave off a minute of my time. Okay, I just did it. I didn't crash into everything. I got a nice jump start and I played it flawlessly. Oh, I still need to shave like 45 seconds off. So you know there's something going on here with these two achievements. You're like, they're for basically speed running the race part, like finishing it in record time basically, and then also for running it backwards and getting first place. And so you knew something was up, and I couldn't figure it out. I ran this race so many times. I was looking for secret tunnels. I bumped into every wall to make sure it was sturdy. I tried everything. And so the key is, finally someone gave me a tip on this and told me, finally there was a YouTube video on it, and the key is, have you ever seen the movie Ready Player One?
I haven't, actually.
Oh, man. That was the last movie I saw in the theater. I saw that movie in theater, and I figured that was the peak of cinematic progression, and it was all going to be downhill after that. So I've watched zero movies in the in the theater since Ready Player One. I get a little choked up talking about this movie. It meant so much to me. And so I saw Ready Player One. That was it. But in that movie, spoiler alert, there's a race sequence, and everyone keeps trying this different things, going for it. They keep getting destroyed by like Godzilla and all this other stuff, monster trucks. Yeah, I mean, it's really a visual masterpiece, and so you're seeing all this stuff, and everyone keeps trying all this different stuff, and no one can figure out how to beat it. And then turns out all you gotta do when the race starts, you just floor it backwards. And that was the whole key. So, yeah, so spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the movie, it's only been out for like 2 years, I think. But the key was they had to go backwards. And that's the same thing in this Bud Spencer Slappin' Beans. I don't know if they were inspired by that or what have you. But you just go backwards to a certain point and then go forward. And basically, it's real easy to get the achievement at that point. So, really enjoyed the game. I've talked about it at great lengths. But it was really cool getting those achievements off my list once I saw the video and saw the trick on how to do it, because I tried so many different things. I was like, there is something I'm missing, and I could not for the life of me figure it out. So it was quite the relief once I figured it out, and I just needed another excuse to talk about this game.
All right.
Yep.
Nicely done.
Sounds good.
It's definitely going to have some podcast record. I think once we get up to 40 times talking about it, though, we have to retire it.
Nice. Yeah. Time to talk about Barbie again.
It has been a while.
And Bull Boy and Barbie and Bud Spencer. I think those are probably our top 3. I don't know.
Right, well,
and Minecraft.
But Minecraft puts a lot on the table, though, for sure. But for my number 2, I'm pretty sure I picked a game that we haven't discussed before, and that would be the Kinect-required Xbox One title, Shape Up. Either of you guys familiar with this one?
I am familiar with it, but I haven't played it.
Okay, you've talked about it.
Oh yeah, that was
like
the one with the Beatmaster. That was the part I talked about, the Beatmaster.
Right. Okay, because the Beatmaster was impossible. So as I was going through and looking for achievements for this one, it was actually a little difficult. First of all, there are pages and pages of 40G achievements. But secondly, what qualifies an achievement as memorable? We all have those 1 or 2 things that we've done before, and we remember that feeling of relief or excitement when we finally pop that achievement. But once you're 5, 10, 20,000 achievements into your gamer tag, they all kind of blend together, especially when you're playing games like all the Game of the Year candidates that X mentioned earlier.
Oh, yeah.
So, with that said, I just sort of sorted my list and looked for 40G achievements and decided instead of picking one achievement, because I did that with Dark Ritual, I was going to pick a couple games that had several 40G achievements, because it would give more meat to the discussion. Shape Up is one of those games. Shape Up has actually, including the DLC, 10 achievements worth 40G. I have earned 8 of them, and they were all pretty memorable because I actually stood up and was not on my couch and exercised. And these were achievements that I guess you could trick. So there are things like getting consistency badges, which you pretty much just get for playing the game. But there was a lot of stuff you actually had to do. There's the achievement for beating the lumberjack in the DLC quest. You can't fake that. You have to actually play and move your legs and beat this lumberjack at whatever fitness game he decides to throw at you.
Is he worse than the Beatmaster?
No. The Beatmaster is far and away the worst one.
Beatmaster, man.
Because the Beatmaster, which was not a 40G achievement, I was really hoping it was, because that would have checked both boxes.
Yeah.
The Beatmaster's beat is not correct, so it's easier to play. For those of you who might be considering Shape Up, I know we talked a little bit about a Kinect challenge at some point. The best way to beat the Beatmaster is actually turn the volume off and just watch the visual cues. Yep.
Man, I just out-hustled her.
The beat and the...
I wanted it more than she did.
It does not match.
That's how I've done most of my rhythm games, just putting on mute.
I want to say, it doesn't matter if the music's on or not. I'm going to be off beat. And so there's a canvas section where you just got to do like run in place, and that's where you get her. And so I just out-hustled her, and she didn't have a chance. It was quite a showdown that night.
Yeah, and so to explain these achievements pretty quickly, the way the game is structured is that you have various masters, and you're trying to beat them at the game of fitness. The game is structured in such a way that you have, I believe they were 12-week courses, and you're supposed to log in 3 times a week and go through and collect all the stars and hopefully beat each of the masters at their own game. So here are the achievements that you get that are 40G if you ever intend to do this one. So as I mentioned before, you get badges, either for consistency or for your performance. There are 2 achievements attached to each of that, one for 10 and one for 12. So that's 4 of those achievements out of the way. There's another one that you get for finishing all 3 parts of the quest mode in one day. So instead of coming into the game 3 times that week, you do about 60 minutes of exercise instead of 20 minutes of exercise. Elroy has amazing cardio, so this was fine for him. For me, I nearly died that day. The next one is to get an 8-time streak, and this is one that actually requires you to log into the game for 8 weeks and continue on your quests. And then there's the final pairing, which came from the DLC, the Champion of the North for defeating the Lumberjack, and North Star for earning every star on his quest. These were not necessarily memorable in and of themselves, but the whole experience of playing through Shape Up and actually completing most of the game. I've actually just got a couple achievements left in one of the DLCs, and 2 of the 4 of them are worth 40G, so maybe it's time to return. But it was rewarding to go through and actually legitimately do all this work in an exercise game and earn achievements for burning some calories.
What's the Lumberjack? Like, what do you gotta do to beat the old Lumberjack?
I'm trying to... I know the Ghost Spirit one is the one where you have to, like... It's similar to the one where you have to punch the watermelons on either side or punch the ice blocks.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, those are annoying.
But I don't remember what the Lumberjack is, which is probably why I finished the Lumberjack, because it's the one I felt I could more easily do, and I just never went back around. And I don't have a Kinect cable, so, that's been my excuse for the last however long it's been since I got a 1X.
Oh, that is a great excuse.
Yeah, it's working out so far.
Awesome. All right.
All right.
No further questions?
No further questions. That goes to my number 2.
Number two.
I was waiting for it. You really, you had me worried there. So my number 2 pick goes to the super obviously named Operation Anchorage achievement from the Operation Anchorage DLC in Fallout Trace. So that's the one you get simply for completing the Operation Anchorage storyline. So why is it one of my favorites? Well, Operation Anchorage was you ready?
Ready.
My first ever DLC.
Aww.
I popped my DLC cherry with Operation Anchorage.
Man, they grow up so fast.
Aww.
Which achievement is that? Like, I'm sure I got it in the PC version by typing add achievement number, whatever.
There were probably
number 40, right?
I think there were 50 in the base game, if I recall, and I think the DLC had 7. So in theory, this would be number 57.
Number 40. That's what I'm going with.
Okay, well, it's probably 57. I actually want to look it up. If it's 57, I will eat Elroy's hat or something. I don't know. So anyway, my first ever DLC. How cute! I was 18 young years old. Youth. So the concept of DLC was just fascinating to me, though, because I wasn't a PC gamer, so I never experienced expansion packs or anything like that before. So DLC was completely new. It was like, you mean there's more to this game than what's on the disc? Whoa! Mind blown! On top of that, this was it was also my first experience downloading any kind of playable content, period. Like, I never did an arcade game, or I never had, like, a title update or anything like that. That was, Operation Anchorage came out, and I connected my 360 to Xbox Live for the first time, and downloaded it. So, it was like this double whammy, because I'm like, you mean I get to play this content from the hard drive? That's crazy! And, yeah, it's funny to think that was just 10 years ago, because now I'm at the point where, like, ugh, it's on disc. I'm not going to play that. I have to get up and put the disc in. Not worth my time. I'll play one of my 374 digital games, thank you very much. So, how far we've come in 10 years, but thank you, Operation Anchorage, for introducing me to the all-digital future.
It's funny you mentioned that game. I actually have experience in that game in the sense that it's on my tag. That was back in the old days. I wasn't quite the youth that you were, but I had to have been at least in my 30s or maybe
you were never that young. You've always been an old fart.
But yeah, what's funny though is that that game it's on my tag because around that time I was subscribed to Blockbuster, and so Blockbuster had games.
Dinosaur.
And so I'm just like, oh, send me games. This is awesome. I can try all these games, and so. Like, all this garbage is on my tag from that year that I like Bayonetta got on my tag from that.
Whoa, that is not garbage.
Fallout
good
3
game, not
got on my
garbage.
tag from that.
Whoa, yeah, I'm cutting you off
and,
until you take that back.
Some other ones, and I had those old musty discs sent to me in an envelope, and I sent them right back, and I was like, "The hell with this! I ain't gonna ever play this game ever again." I did get Dante's Inferno off it, and I enjoyed that one. So maybe it wasn't all a complete wash, but
I'm sorry, you can't say that Dante's Inferno was good and Bayonetta was trash.
Oh, it's amazing. And then Bayonetta. And so I gotta get back at some point and play this stupid game because it's on my tag and it's just like sitting there and I have I think 2 achievements out of it, and I mean it's just awful, just bringing my whole tag down. It's just it and Rocksmith, they can just go to hell.
You have said some very offensive things in the past. That tops the list.
What, Rocksmith?
No, Bayonetta being a trash game.
Oh, I thought maybe you were playing the musician card on me.
That like hurts me to my core.
Okay. I'm okay with that.
What's number 3? Core Shanker.
Wait, is it my
What?
turn? I got so distracted by you hating on Bayonetta, I lost my place on my one page of notes.
I just went, so the Roy's third pick.
Yeah, okay.
Because I was going to cut him off. I don't know that we want to hear his opinions anymore.
Yeah,
my last pick is is trash game from Bayonetta. Oh wait, no, that's right. They're all trash that game. So I couldn't pick just one from that, and so. So my last one, number 1, is Devil of the Caribbean. It is from Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. So this game is one that holds a special place in my heart because it was before the days I was runt as a lowly Chivo hunter that doesn't care about any game, and I still look forward to all this, like certain games, but this game actually didn't look forward to. I just got it for Christmas one time. My brother, I guess, thought it looked interesting and bought it for me for Christmas. I had never said, "Hey, I want this game." Back then, there wasn't a whole lot of games for the Xbox One, and so I'd already finished Dead Rising 3, and so I guess it was the next logical game to play. And so I played it. I didn't know what I was doing at first, and it was kind of bizarre. I was like, "What's this hiding mechanic? Why am I, how come he doesn't see me? I'm right next to him in these bushes." I didn't understand anything, and so I worked my way through it, got over the Assassin's Creed learning, curve, and started doing better and better at it. And it's really not a difficult game once you actually know what you're doing. And so, you get to where you're basically invincible with the level up system, and at that point, you just kind of walk in, and there's like 100 enemies, and you just shank them all, and you're never going to run out. You just throw a few smoke bombs on the ground, and it's just Stab City, and it's over. And I mean, there's no real threat to your mortality in that. And when you get to the higher levels, however, with the way the map's set up, everything's kind of in the middle of the map, and then there's a lot of ocean up to the top, to the bottom, to the west, the east. There's water on the edges, and you're like, well, that's weird. What's going on over here? And you want to kind of, at this point, I don't know what TA is. I was on my own. This is the days before I knew what that was, and
the Stone Age.
Whew. Yeah, and so I thought, well, I'm just gonna go see what's on the rest of the map. And so I traveled out there, and all of a sudden I'm being attacked by what they call a legendary ship, and I'm like, a legendary ship. And at this point, I thought I was invincible with all these upgrades. Everything was fully upgraded. I had 100, almost 100% sync. And I guess in the 100% sync, you have to defeat the legendary ships, and I didn't know what that was. So I found them on my own, and they just murderized me. I mean, I thought I was invincible in this game, and these ships just murderized me. There was nothing I could do. And so I tried a few different techniques, and it wasn't happening. It was not happening. I figured out on my own, okay, well, if there's one over here, there's probably one over here. And sure enough, there was one over there, and it equally murderized me. And so I worked on this for hours and hours, which is so bizarre for me to say nowadays. I mean, I would have just been like, oh, I'm out. But
yeah, you could earn a whole 1,000 gamer score from a Ratalaika in that amount of time.
you're multiple
more than that.
thousands.
Yeah, I was saying I could go through like half their catalog by then. And so I went and tried another one, and I tried another one. And I tried a few different approaches, and I finally killed one of them. I felt like I was on top of the world, man. I got one of them, killed it, but I might kill two. I don't remember the exact, but I could not finish it. So at this point, I was in need of help. So I was still stuck in the Nintendo Power days, where you write in and then get some help in a magazine a month later. But basically, if I couldn't read the help, I didn't know that it existed. So I discovered that YouTube actually is a great source for gaming tips. Who would have thunk it? Back then, I mean, I guess YouTube was still a big thing, but I don't know. I just never thought to get on there and do do a search for any kind of gaming, because I just was always a loner gamer. It was more of like a private thing, just kind of game on my own. And so it was the first time I really branched out and tried to find assistance in that manner. And of course, there was multiple videos on there. It showed me, okay, well, apparently all I have to do is just go hide like behind his butt. So like go like run right up and get right behind it, and it can't hit me. And I just sit there and shoot him with my, and like, I was like, I had never thought to do that. So I basically discovered that, this whole world out there of, oh, okay, I don't have to do this on my own. So that was pretty exciting. So it was kind of like you alluded to, when you kind of changed as a gamer, that kind of changed me in the sense that I started thinking not just, being on my own. So, and a little sidebar to that multiplayer, did that ever happen? Did I miss that? The Assassin's Creed 4 multiplayer? I still got those achievements I need to get. Are those,
I think that room might have been retired, but you can always bring it up in Boosting General.
Oh, did everyone do that? Did I just miss that, or what?
I don't think it got off the ground.
Oh, dang. Okay. Because I was really looking forward to that, because I was wanting to get that completion out of the way, but all right.
Well, if anyone's looking to do some
Hit me
Assassin's Creed multiplayer boosting, bring it up in Boosting General.
I just want to chime in that you said at least 4 times, back then.
Oh,
and you're talking about 2014.
Yeah, I guess it was, yeah.
But, time is irrelevant when you're old, so I understand.
Well, it's that, and I don't think people really understand how I'm really not. This is like my 3rd year of really achievement hunting. I really haven't been doing this for very long. I mean, seriously, I've only been doing it for like 3 summers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it really, in my gaming career, and 2014 was 5 years ago, so, I guess that was 5 years ago. So 2 years later, I kind of started in on this downward spiral that is achievement hunting. That, it is what it is.
Better or worse?
Worse.
Well, for my number 1 or 3 pick this week.
Number 1.
Yeah, I'm not sure which way we're going with this.
All right, we'll go with number 1.
3. Oh.
So for number 3 or number 1, I went ahead and picked one of my favorite games ever, actually, on Xbox. Because as we've already alluded to multiple times, or in fact straight out said, we play a lot of garbage as achievement hunters. And it's nice when we occasionally come across that game that we actually really enjoy. Now, obviously our thresholds for that are very different because, someone like a Mr. Elroy that might or might not come from Tennessee enjoys just playing the next Rodalaika game for another 1,000. For some of us, that gets a little boring after a while. While going through the list of 40 Gamerscore games, 40 Gamerscore achievements that I've earned, I came across a quartet of achievements from Rayman Legends, which is one of the best games ever.
That was a very good game.
Amazing.
Is that the one with the foot?
With the foot?
I don't know, some giant foot was trying to crush you or something. No. Okay, moving on.
Right, so, Rayman Legends, in case you hadn't played it, it's a 2D platformer game, very much in the traditional style, and it's just one of the most amazing, well-developed, fun-to-play games, but it does take a while to complete. There are 4 achievements in the game that are worth 40 Gamerscore, and these are all achievements you get towards the end of playing the game. One is for Journey to the Moon, which is a story achievement, as much as there are story achievements in this game. Another is Gold Addict, which is for not only collecting all the teensies in a level, but also collecting 600 lums in each level. The third is So Rich, for earning 1,000,000 lums overall in the game. And the final one is the final level of awesomeness. Now, for those of you who don't know what that means, the way that Rayman Legends is organized is as you play through the game, you get experience points. And you get experience points for beating levels, for playing in online challenges, all sorts of different things. The game has 11 total levels, and to get from level 1 to 10 is not too trying an experience. But to get from 10 to 11, you're going to have to log into the game daily for a number of weeks. And you're going to have to hope to either get a gold or silver in these challenges, because a gold is only worth 10 XP and a silver is worth 5 XP. And if you get a lowly bronze, it's worth 1 XP. So why'd you waste your time logging in that day? That said, when you finally hit that final level of awesomeness, it's awesome and totally a memorable experience. In fact, Rayman Legends, I think, is the only game that I have actually made a concerted effort to go for the stack. So not just an easy 1K where, okay, I can go do this again like a Walking Dead, but something where I legitimately took great joy in going through the game again. And of these 4 achievements, the only one I'm missing in the Xbox 360 version is that final level of awesomeness. So now that this list put this back in my head, I'm looking forward to jump back in. If anyone has the Xbox 360 version and is looking to pick up some wins against people doing challenges, I'll be happy to lay down some low scores for you.
Awesome. So you sure that's not the game with the... You talked about it a long time ago where some foot was chasing you or something like that.
I mean, there's the giant foot in Snake Rattle and Roll and Rare Replay, but I don't think we talked about that one. Giant foot.
I'm not... Yeah, that's not ringing any bells for me either.
Man, I think that was the days before... I think that was... You alluded to the old days of VSS pre-X. I think that you talked about some foot, like boss battle maybe.
I mean, the Rare Replay one is probably the one you're thinking of. And there is a 40G achievement in Rare Replay, and it's one of the ones for getting a whole bunch of stamps, and it's worth like a 7 ratio. But yeah, in Snake Rattle and Roll, there's a giant foot that's the final boss. Yes, that is what it is, because in that game, this giant foot is trying to kill you, and you can use Rewind in Rare Replay, and that's really the way you beat it. And when you're doing it legitimately, it takes a long time, because this foot is impossible. But if you have the disc for the game, you can uninstall the patch, and there's a workaround.
Yeah, that's really it. Okay.
Yeah, so that was not Rayman Legends, because Rayman Legends is actually a well-developed game and didn't have any things like that.
Okay, all right.
I just want to chime in. Rayman Legends, I haven't actually played it in a while, but the end levels, the music levels,
oh, they're the best.
They're fantastic. Those are like probably some of my favorite memories of this whole generation.
Yep.
Those are so good. Then you get like the glitchy ones, where there's like 64 little mini screens and they're like backwards. So good.
Right. And the game manages to give you that moment where your heart's racing because you know you're getting close to the end, but they're very difficult, but never unfair. In the best platformers, any mistakes you make are yours. They're not the controls. So Rayman hits all those boxes. It's sad that whole UbiArt engine, which also gave us games like Valiant Hearts and all that, just seems to have gone by the wayside for Ubisoft, because it was really some phenomenal stuff.
Yeah, that was an early Games with Gold, actually. That's the only reason I played it, but I thoroughly enjoyed that one. So, anyway, speaking of games that I've enjoyed, I also made my number 3/number 1, whatever we're doing this. I also made a game that I thoroughly enjoyed. Number 2, what the heck? Number 9, do we just really want to?
Yeah, just go for it.
So, my third and final and my top pick, it's actually a multi-way tie between 10 achievements. So, Laser Storm, Laziken, Endokuken, Inferno, Howl, Rampage, Samamish, Cold Shoulder, Power Devour, and Roller Coaster. All 10 of these come from Killer Instinct Classic. And those are the achievements for beating Idol, the game's big bad, with each character in the game. So yeah, Killer Instinct, the OG Killer Instinct. Everybody by now knows that I love me some fighting games. And this goes back to some of my earliest memories with the original Killer Instinct on my Uncle Dan's Super Nintendo. I
didn't realize it was on the Super Nintendo. I only remembered on the 64.
That was Killer Instinct Gold, which was a port of KI2.
Okay.
But yeah, the original Killer Instinct, Super Nintendo, 1995. Where I was just a, lowly 5-year-old old fart. Anyway, so we're not making fun of you, Em. Only Elroy is old.
Right, I haven't crested 40 yet.
All right. Yeah, you're still young.
Man.
You're still young. Anyway, not only was this my first fighting game, but I'm pretty sure it's the first game that I actually got into. Like, I'd played Mario on, original NES, but I never, got into them. But KI, I was all about it. My uncle lived with my grandpa and my dad lived with my grandpa, so every other weekend I'd go visit my dad, and then I would just be like, yeah, bye, Dad. Like, I miss you, love you. I'm going to go play Killer Instinct on Uncle Dan's Super Nintendo. So all I wanted to do was play this game, and I only got to play it like 4 days a month. So even though I was only 5, like, I knew I got to get good. This is going to be like my passion. This is what I will do. I will be fighting game extraordinaire. So I played it. I got pretty good. I never.
Who was your character?
Fulgore, actually. You're about one sentence ahead of me. Good going. I never did beat arcade mode when I was 5, but I could make it to Idol using Fulgore. I could make it to the final fight. Could never beat him, so I needed Uncle Dan to beat him for me. But yeah, so go me. Go 5-year-old me. Anyway, eventually, talk of this game made it to my mom, who issued an immediate cease and desist notice because it sounded far too violent, just based on the name alone. She never saw the game itself, but it's called Killer Instinct. I can't have my 5-year-old baby playing that. Probably a good decision, parenting-wise, but I don't know. Anyway, from that point forth, I was never allowed to play the game again. But that didn't stop me. I snuck in a few matches whenever I could. My dad was like, no, it's not violent. You can go ahead and play that. So I got to play it whenever I could. But for the most part, that was the end of my KI days because my grandpa, was doing the good thing. He's like, no, you can't play that game. So boo hiss, right? Anyway, fast forward, 2013. Now I'm 23. I'm still young and sprightly. And Xbox One is announced. And I hear that they are rebooting Killer freaking Instinct. Cue joy, delight, absolute bliss, nostalgia. What is this? The game from my childhood is coming back. Oh my gosh. I literally bought my Xbox One on day one. I went to the midnight launch in November 2013 solely for Killer Instinct. Yeah, I got Forza 5 just because I felt obligated to get a launch, like, a big actual real game. I got Assassin's Creed 4, but Killer Instinct was what I got this console for. And I did it only because of my fond childhood memories. Childhood. So anyway, when I found out that if you bought the season pass for season 1 of the reboot, you got Killer Instinct Classic for free, that was just like the icing on the cake. So I got to play not only the reboot, which is fantastic, by the way, can't recommend it enough, but I got to, rewind, let's do some math. I got to rewind 18 years and play Killer Instinct. It was awesome. And, to end this trip down memory lane, it was only fitting that the first achievement I unlocked was for finally beating Idol with Fulgore. Awesome. Very fitting.
Nice.
Yeah. 18 years in the making, baby. So, thank you, Killer Instinct, for a lifetime of fighting game memories.
Man. I was more of a Spinal guy.
Spinal!
Yeah, he was... Man, he didn't play around, man. That big... yeah. Man, I tore up some people with Spinal in my college days with the N64, but... I think Maya was my backup character, but I was all Spinal, man.
Okay.
Man, yeah, that guy was tough.
KI2, I was all about Kim Woo, who was actually my main in the reboot.
Yeah.
I don't have the coordination for fighting games, so you got to know where your limits are.
Yeah. All right.
That's fair. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed our trip down memory lane with our top 40 gamer score achievements. You know who we are. I am X the Hero, Jeffy the Panda's floating around here somewhere, Elroyo MJ, and Matriarch with no I.
Mm-hmm.
Look us up on the usual places. And no one's saying anything.
No, look us up in the usual places. You know where to find us. I mean, come on, you're listening to the podcast. You probably found it already.
Yeah, we've only said this, 30 some odd times.
I'm trying to think of a scenario
go
where
find Window of Opportunity on Facebook and give them a like if you've been visiting the page.
Yeah, absolutely. I still only have 19 subscribers on YouTube. It makes me cry.
Man. Hey, we need to start something here. You need to have more likes or more subscribers than you have years of age. I mean, that's just something that needs.
I mean, you could probably get your student click factory to.
Oh man, yeah.
There you go.
I could use some Memphis fans, I suppose.
You got it.
All right. Well, anyway, thanks for listening, everybody, and let the countdown to our next episode begin. After my top 3 ponies, number 3 Rarity, number 2 Twilight Sparkle, and number 1, which I've already said, Rainbow Dash.
Oh, not so fast there, Sparky. I got my top 3 things that stop more things than my goalie. Number 3, non-scary ghosts. Number 2, watery gelatin. Number 1, a freaking turnstile.
But wait, there's more. I've got my top 3 reasons spring is actually the worst season, despite what you've been thinking all this time. 3, it's still cold and rainy out there. 2, then it gets really hot and humid. 1, allergies.
Let the countdown begin right now.
No.
Hello and welcome to week 3 of the Soma discussions. I'm Wakapale, and with me today I have Dynable.
Dynable, hey, hello.
And Ben L72.
Hi everybody.
Last week we just arrived at Theta in search of the Dunbat, a submarine that is supposed to take us to the deep sea station. We easily find it at the beginning of our search. Unfortunately, the Dunbat is quarantined. Theta that we arrive in has seen better days. There's blood all over the place. We quickly realize that everyone is in the basement and that plenty are dead or missing.
Yeah, there was a lot more dead bodies this run through.
Or nearly dead.
Many of them were not entirely dead.
Yeah.
They were still moving.
And making very weird noises.
Creepy breathing noises, yeah.
Yeah, you could not interact with them at all. When you start exploring Theta, looking for a cipher to get into the room with the Dunbat, you pass through the living quarters and the bathrooms. And did you notice that you could look in the mirror in the bathrooms?
I did not.
Yeah, I didn't catch that either.
If you do, you get to see yourself in the mirror, and you are clearly not human. When you explore the living quarters, you will see rooms of many of the people that you have heard of while traveling across the bases, and you can investigate their rooms and read their personal entries and just go through their things, including Catherine's living quarters. There are some fun bits there if you open drawers and look through things. It's not as much as I'd like. She comments a lot about the things that you pick up and examine, but not all of them. I thought it would be fun if they did a little bit more with that.
Yeah, she mentions, there's nothing interesting here while you're looking around, but it's not too exciting, is it?
Not too exciting. There is, however, some sort of tablet that you can read with some information about the mind scans and the WoW and how it has been stealing mind scans for a while.
Was the tablet the thing on the desk right there? It was like to the left.
It was.
I just kept picking it up. I couldn't figure out how to interact with it. I kept throwing it around.
Yeah, it has some. The important part is that Catherine realized that the WoW has been stealing the mind scans that she's been doing, but she doesn't know what for. And doesn't seem very bothered about it. It's just a footnote.
I will say, not to get off track, but I'm trusting Catherine less and less. No, I know you guys have been not trusting her as much.
You also find Mark Sarang's living quarters. That guy is crazy. He does have some sound reasoning, well, up until the point where he tries to get you to kill yourself. I can see the appeal of his teachings, but if you look at it too closely, I really don't think it holds water.
No.
You also find Robin Bass' room. You missed her last time. She was inside a robot outside of Theta. You find a suicide note and there's blood all over her bed. She did what she thought she did and killed herself immediately after getting the scan. So there's not a lot of humans around besides those half-living things in the basement.
Does the basement have that green room too? Or is that another place?
The basement has the server room mainly.
Okay.
Before you go to the basement, you find Catherine's lab, and in it you also find Simon's brain scan and audio logs from while Simon was alive. During the brain scan, after the brain scan, and then 1 month later when they realized that the treatment hasn't worked and that he is lying on his deathbed. Did you hear those?
Yep, listened to those, and he took the news pretty well that he'd died, but I suppose knowing that he was in the future, it was almost certain he was dead anyway.
Then you can choose to keep the brain scan around or destroy it.
I think I destroyed that.
I didn't see any point to destroying it. It seems his brain scan is a standard piece of software in every AI dev kit, so there's thousands of him out there.
So it's probably around in different places, but you will realize later that you have deleted it from the entire station, because you will find other computers with Simon's brain scan, and it's gone if you delete it.
Uh-huh.
To find the cipher, you need to reboot the router. Apparently, even in the futures, they haven't got the routers working correctly yet. The router is down in the basement in a server room, and that place is rather creepy. There is a monster stalking the server room.
Yeah, that monster's the creepiest, man. Like the one, like the big ass. I don't even know how to explain it. It's like a sack with legs.
Yeah, that's a pretty accurate description of it.
It's creepy as hell,
and makes horrible, horrible noises as well.
And you're playing in safe mode, so it wasn't too bad for you, but
it's still scary, man.
Ben L, you're playing in normal mode. I don't think the monster was much of a pain, but did you die from it?
He died from me a couple of times before I realised, how to avoid him. It made that section really vexing because I was always conscious of him coming up and running away, so it took me a lot longer to actually solve how to do it, and I eventually had to resort to a guide to figure out exactly what I had to do, just because I was so freaked out by the monster.
The puzzle is really straightforward, but since you are hiding from the monster, you might not look at the screen to see what you have to do.
It was more the tiny yellow button that I missed when I was in a hurry. You had to press a tiny, tiny button to open something.
Yeah, and then you have to confirm that you want to reset it, and you have to do it within a minute.
Yeah. Now, once I found the button, the rest of it fell into place, but it was harder because I was freaking out because the monster was so creepy and would kill me.
Once you reset the router, you go upstairs to the lab again, and you need to find the security cipher, and you do so by pulling in a brain scan from Brandon 1, who was a security member on the station. Inside the simulation, you have to trick him. You have to trick him to give you the cipher. Brandon freaks out once he hears Catherine's voice. There is, if you go to his quarters, there is a statement from him that he has written down that the biggest pain was that Shun girl. She is so fucking uncomfortable at all times. It makes my skin crawl. So he is not a fan of Catherine at all. Not many seem to be a fan of Catherine on the station. Once you got the cipher, did you erase his data or did you decide to keep it around?
I erased it.
I also kept it around in case you might need it later.
There is a bit if you erase Simon. He says that at least there will not be any more Simons running around this place. So, do you expect to run into another Simon at one point?
Hopefully not.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Wait, so if you erase it or don't erase it, does that affect? That's spoilers, probably.
It might. There are so many tiny things or choices you can do that you might not even realize are choices that change the game just slightly. Once you've gotten the cipher, you get access to the Dunbat, and there's a puzzle to activate it that is, I think it's really good.
I had to look up a walkthrough for this one.
You basically have to plug in a console and push a few buttons to activate the Dunbat, and it's not really a puzzle, it's just push buttons in a sequence. But the payoff when you do is really good. This is one of my favorite moments in the game.
It's so simple when you know it, but I was sitting there it was probably like a good 10-20 minutes maybe, and I was like, okay, I don't know how to do this, so I gotta go online and look this up. I was so mad when I pulled up the YouTube video. All it was the guy was just picking up this cord and plugging it in. I was just like, really? I missed that?
Yeah, the power cord. I managed to get that one.
I was sitting there like messing with the dongles and all the buttons and stuff, and it wasn't working.
All the puzzles seem so obvious in hindsight, but it's easy to miss. If you miss just one piece of critical information, or you just don't realize that you can interact with objects, you can get stuck rather easy. Once you activate the Dunbat, things go a bit crazy.
Oh yeah.
Just a bit.
Just a little bit.
The Dunbat comes alive, curses Catherine, says that it is all her fault, and then gets the hell out of there without you. And I expected things to go south. I did not expect it to go south in such a spectacular fashion.
I'd agree with that. I thought something would go wrong, but it coming to life and cursing, that was fun.
Well, since I looked up the walkthrough, that part was kind of spoiled for me. Because the achievement's Plan B, so, I don't know. I kind of expected something to that degree to happen.
Well, did you expect the submarine to come alive, cursing Catherine, and then getting out of there?
Oh, no. I didn't expect that. No. That part was unexpected.
Once you wake up, you go through a couple of events until you end up in a workshop where you find a prototype of the Ark. There's some information regarding the project, and you get to do a simulation to see how the Ark works. You also have the opportunity to find out what you are made of, which is also one of my favorite scenes in the game.
You find out you're a girl.
Well...
And a corpse.
Meshed to a diving suit.
Yeah.
So, we guess we'll have to ask Freemhole if this counts as play with a female protagonist or not. Catherine is really happy about the discovery. Simon is not as pleased knowing that he is a diving suit with a dead girl inside and just some electronics shucked in for good measure.
But again, with the slightly sociopathic Catherine, she's pleased with the elegance of the design, basically.
Imogen? Who's that?
It looks like the basis for your body is one of my old colleagues. A standard Cortex chip for robots, including the data reader and the OcuTorch, has just been forced through the skull.
What?
Structure gel has fused the whole construction together. Amazing stuff.
No, hold on, back up. I'm one of your old colleagues?
Well, your body is. Imogen Reed.
That's disgusting.
Hey, don't say that. She was nice to me. Anyway, the Cortex chip is good news. That means we can transfer your mind to the Ark with a pilot seat.
Kath, I'm half a dead person.
Yes, it makes sense. Think about it.
I can see why people are not very fond of her. Once you're done at the workshop, there's a monster section where you have to find a security chip, update it, and use it to open a door. I'm not a big fan of the monster sections. This one is actually rather easy.
He's so scary though, man. The design.
Yeah, they are creepy.
He's creepy, but at least this bit is fairly well lit, and you've got some hang of how to avoid him.
Yes. Well, it's well lit until you enter that one room and all the lights shut off.
And then you have to remember that you have a flashlight.
Which I remembered this time.
You also get to get some more information in the doctor's office regarding the recent patients, which include Catherine and her gang, who is trying to get the Ark into space, living Catherine. Also, the doctor is not at all very nice about Catherine in her notes, if you read them.
I was too spooked, I didn't read them.
You also learn that Akers is one of the monsters. You also find out that Brandon sacrificed himself to get the rest of the team going, to get the Ark to the space gun.
Oh, speaking of Brandon, that part where you had to like take the, I don't know what it was called. You have to take like a card from his hand.
The security chip.
Yeah, the computer chip, or whatever, from his hand. That part it hit me a little hard. I was just like, dang, dude, like you're just like grabbing the stuff from his hand.
Yeah, if you go up to it, you see that he has something in his hand that you clearly need, and if you just press to pick it up, it doesn't work. You have to manually drag it from his hand, which is gripping rather hard, so his hand goes up, and you have to pull a bit before the item drops.
Yeah, some nasty stuff.
Once you have gotten out of that area and ended up in an elevator, the elevator gets stuck. Then you have to figure out a way out of there, and there's a hatch that is easy to find. I keep looking at the ceiling of elevators every time they get stuck in games, but in this case it's actually on the floor.
I did the same thing. I looked up first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the obvious thing to do, isn't it?
Once you open it, you see a ladder, you climb the ladder, and immediately it snaps and you fall down, which is not an issue in the big scheme of things. It hardly slows you down, but it's a bit of a oh no moment. Immediately after that, we have one of the biggest scares in the game. You need to go through a corridor and get jumped by a sprinting monster.
That's so scary, dude. I don't know that dude.
Yeah, that one got you.
Like he runs down the steps. I don't know that guy.
Yes.
Oh my god, that's what I was talking about earlier. Like, I fucking hated that. That was so scary.
The first time I played that bit, I thought that I had died and that the game had crashed or got hung up or something.
I thought I died.
There's a really long dark screen before you wake up to a dream sequence with your girlfriend.
I was just like, I'm playing on easy mode. How'd I die? What's going on?
Yeah, I was halfway convinced I died, but because it didn't actually do the screen of death, which I've seen a few times, which is a kind of montage of clips, I thought I'd give it another few seconds, and thankfully it continued.
You have a dream sequence with your girlfriend, and immediately after that you wake up with, stuck to a wall, like the other half-humans that you find around the place.
I like all the people on the walls.
Yes.
Ugh. It almost reminds me, have you ever watched like a Cronenberg film?
Yeah, I have.
It reminds me of that almost, like that like body horror kind of thing. Or almost like From Beyond. Like it just reminds...
Yeah, there is certainly some body horror going on.
Yeah.
And most of it is not even organic. There's a lot of tech just tucked into some organic pieces. And there's some really creepy designs in this game.
Yeah. I just, even on safe mode, like I've said multiple times, like just walking through, I just felt like I just wanted to get through it. Like I was enjoying playing it, but I was still just like, I want to get through this. I just want to run through all this. I don't want to see this.
This is probably the low light of the entire game, in my opinion. This navigational puzzle that you have to do. Just go through a corridor, find crawl spaces to get through the area.
The crawl spaces do not help.
No, and the monster is there chasing you all the time, and I remember it being a pain playing on normal mode. It wasn't too bad in safe mode, but
yeah.
It's still not. I did not care for it much.
How'd that go for you, Ben?
Very badly. It's so dark, and your flashlight really doesn't seem to do very much at all. So I was constantly backing into corners trying to stay alive, because if it kills you, you're back to the start. It's all looking very similar, and the actual thing you have to do to solve the puzzle is up on a wall. I was mostly crouching and looking at the floor. So I wandered around for ages, died several times, wandered around some more, went back to the beginning. Eventually I had to find a guide to find exactly what I was looking for, which was a panel on the wall you have to rip open. So found that bit very frustrating.
Yeah, and I don't know if they tell you that you have to look for the panel or in some way. I have no idea how you were supposed to figure that out.
Absolutely none. The only clue, I think, is that the door you find says power malfunction or something, so clearly you're looking for something power-related, but I didn't get it. I had to cheat.
I just found it by accident.
Same.
I did not use a guide at all for the first time I played this game, and I got through it somehow. Yeah, I remember not liking this section very much. There is only one more section that I think is rather bad.
There's another one like
you have
this?
yet to come across. It's not exactly like this, but it's close.
Oh.
I think this is the worst one. But there's only one more that's as bad as this section.
That was stressful.
Yeah, and you're playing in safe mode.
Yeah, I know. That's what Ben. All the respect to you there. I don't know how you're doing that.
Well, as I say, I'm dying a fair amount.
Carpe Adam and Philip Wendell finds this game so relaxing that they fall asleep to it. So
I don't see how they're falling asleep, especially in the horror sections.
Nerves of steel, those guys.
Yeah.
Even without the safe mode issues, though, I mean, the creepy noise, the screaming of that alien that's chasing you.
Yeah, the horror was really ramped up this episode.
And and the visuals to this one, like I said, like it's like almost like you're watching The Thing or something.
Yeah, things get really messy after you turn on the power to get through the door. There's a big room that you have to traverse, climbing ladders up and down until you find an exit.
I didn't think I was scared of heights until playing this. I'm usually like, I could go like to a hotel in real life. It's like real high. It's okay. But in this game, when I was like real high and I just looked down, and there's just water and just pipes and all that. That for whatever reason, that scared the hell out of me.
Yeah, if you fell down, you had to find the ladder again in that murky water, and you didn't want to do that.
No, that area sucked.
I had a massive problem because I had to resort to a guide in the end. I went straight into the level, went forward, seeing where I thought I had to go for, and wandering around, climbing up ladders, falling off ladders. The answer turned out when I had to resort to a guide after wandering around for about 20 minutes, not finding the right thing, was that the only ladder that gets you to the exit is right by the entrance, and you should never be in the water again after that. But it was in no way clear, and I was so close to this exit all the time, I was convinced I was missing something obvious.
Yeah, you have to drop down to get there, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a point where you just gotta like dive.
Oh yeah, but I was wandering around and climbing onto these low structures that were nothing to do with the correct path at all.
You just follow the ladders until you find the dead end, and then you jump down.
The ladders are misleading though, because there's some ladders that have nothing to do with anything to like the side. I mean, you can't get to them.
There's 4 ladders in the water that will take you out of the water, but only one actually gets you to the pathway of ladders and scaffolding and stuff. And I didn't ever pick the right one.
I didn't realize that. I thought it was just the ladder that you have immediately from where you drop out.
No, there's some misleading ladders there.
Well, that's not very nice.
No.
That's bad game design.
It felt like they should be useful, but they weren't.
Yeah, well, that's too bad. Once you have traversed that room, you find the emergency flush, and as soon as you press it and go back out the pipe that you came in, there's a monster coming from one end, and you have to run away from it, only to immediately get flushed out.
Dude, that scared the hell out of me. When because you see that monster, you're like, I gotta run. I'm playing on safe mode. I'm sorry, I gotta get away from this. So I'm running, and then I get smacked by water. that was stressful.
Yeah, there are some pretty good jump scares in this section that we played.
Oh yeah, that was very good.
Yes, it did ramp it up on this chapter or whatever.
My heartbeat was just like.
Now I can't really remember what exactly is coming up. I don't think it's going to be as stressful next time.
Hopefully not.
Oh, good.
Yeah, unless you're afraid of the dark.
Yeah.
Because things are going to get really dark.
Jeez.
Both thematically and environmentally. Yeah, the achievement that we are going to end for this week is called Endangered Species. And it is technically a missable. It really is not missable if you're at all curious about the story. What I can say is that we do not stop playing immediately as we get the achievement. We keep exploring the room where we get the achievement, do everything that we want to do, and once we're ready to leave, we can close the game and wait until the final week where things will really start popping off.
Is the potentially missable one the second one? The second achievement or the first achievement?
It's the second achievement. So the first one for next week you cannot miss unless you're Prue, who actually got through the first achievement without actually obtaining it somehow. I think he's the only person on TA who has managed to do that.
But you might as well just not get it then. It's you got an accomplishment of itself there.
Once you have unlocked endangered species, keep exploring the room, and once you are done, you can turn off the game and wait until next week for the final episode.
Ooh. Okay, looking forward to it.
Any ideas where the story is going? Dynable is not trusting Catherine anymore.
Yeah, Catherine's evil. She's gonna kill us. That's my theory.
I think Catherine's nutty, but not evil, and Akers is going to kill us.
We will see next week what happens.
Catherine kills us.
Thanks for joining me, Ben L72 and Dynable.
See you guys next week.
Thanks for having me.
Bye, everyone.
See you next week.
Wow, that's so cool. It's the whole gang.
A crew photo? Really? Who were you saving this for? The world was dead.
Thanks, Simon. I thought being an asshole wasn't invented until the 22nd century. Now I know better.